Chasin The Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1 and welcome back to Chasin The Racin, episode 173, and we're delighted to be joined by Michael Howarth. We're down in Coventry, just outside Global Moto Coventry, and we've just been for a quick tour. What did you think, lads?
There's a lot of bikes in there, isn't there?
There is, aye.
I didn't kind of realise what sort of scale it was, the job you were on with down here, because I knew it was something to do with, is it Royal Enfield, the BSA you're kind of primarily with?
Yeah.
But no, it's a fair old outfit. It makes my new venture, where we've got 6 bikes in a lock-up and a workshop that we've borrowed, look like shite, to be fair, is the honest answer. I thought we were going big, and no, like I said before, I'm like a skint Brad Clark. I've got the white shoes and everything. I've got tight jeans like him. I'm just not as portly, and my wallet's a lot thinner. But anyway.
And,
love you, Brad.
I'll tell you what, I'm really generally looking forward to this podcast, solely because I was on the phone to Chris and I was like, is he good crack? And Chris goes, oh, aye. And I'm going, well, you haven't disappointed at all. I think we've been down in Coventry for the whole of 40 minutes. It feels like a lifetime in a good way. I feel like I should be at your wedding, to be fair.
About 18 months. So, excuse me.
What? The wedding's in 18 months?
Well, once I get on one knee, it's getting back up off the floor that'll be the fucking problem for me. But yeah, she's expecting. I'm sure you were going to move into. I've just had a young'un.
Right, congratulations.
It is 11 weeks old. I had to ask her what his birthday was yesterday, and we've not been that long ago since he was born, and I was at the birth, surprisingly. And I still don't know the date of his birth. I know what time it was, which was very interesting because he was a caesarean birth after 12 hours of labour.
Oh, God.
That lazy cow of a missus decided she wanted to be cut up, and so, okay, lazy bollocks, let's go and do this. Let's go and waste more at NHS's money. So we took her down, and they cut him out, as you do, and he's screaming, little rat, and they put the time of his birth down at 5:27. Now, they could have just rounded it off 5:25, 5:30, etc. But the poignancy of that is my best friend, Carl Harris from racing, who unfortunately passed away when I was at TT. His race number was 5, and mine is 27. So when I phoned my mother up and told that, my mum was in tears, and a few of his friends were like, oh, fucking hell, it's... it was quite emotional at that point. But yeah, no, he's grand. And then he was in hospital.
You can't remember the day, though?
No, but then, to be fair, my mum's 70-something. Or is she 60? I don't know. My mum's old anyway. And and I don't know her birthday. And she's been around all my life. So the boy's going to be lucky. My missus will prod me when it's his birthday, and, we'll just buy him something. Go and crack on. I'm not...
Probably be a motorbike, to be fair. It's his first birthday.
I want him to go play golf, to be honest. I'd rather he stay away from it for now.
That is a good parenting idea. That and darts. Darts. Do you know how much they get paid a bloody fortune for throwing arrows?
For lobbing bits of... Yeah, I'm willing for that, me.
You've seen Chrissy's brain ticking over here. I can learn to play darts on the night time when I'm not at work at BSAs, and then it's fun the racing from there. So there we go.
If you could go right back to being like a kid and you could focus on one sport to get to the top, is it darts that you'd do?
Unfortunately, it's motorcycle racing, but there's no money in it, is there? So we know, but no... It's mad, isn't it? Because, we all love this sport, and that's why we're all here. But every other sport seems simpler, doesn't it? No. From an outside looking in, I'm simplifying that fact. But for me, golf, you're hitting a ball, and I bet golfers probably think of us as you're just opening a throttle up and braking a little later, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know my point.
My history before I got into bike racing, which we'll get to later, I started off life as a professional rugby league player, which Larry Carter rips the piss out before, because there's no evidence really, because it was pre-internet. There's some old paper cuttings my mother's got, and it was a team called Keithley Cougars that I signed for. Keithley Cougars, go on, you fighter. And I went and played for Oldham, and then I was off to Wigan, so I was getting there then. And I got sent back to play the winter thing in the local club back in Tomberton, and snapped my leg in half. And then that was like, I tried to get back to where I was prior to that, because I was fantastic at rugby without being vain, and very average at motorcycle racing. But I still got to where I wanted to go. I tried to get back playing rugby, and it was never my passion. It was just like, I'm far too lazy to get a real fucking job. So I used it as an excuse and to earn some money. And then after 12 months of kind of not doing much, I thought, what am I going to do here? And I bought a Honda SP1. and we've just bought another one for the show. I loved it, but I went to do the track day at Cadwell Park, and I gets there, and I'd had bits of road bikes and motocrosses as kids and such, but I'm going round. I just chucked myself in fast group, like in for a penny, in for a pound, like job, and I'm going past all these bikes that I thought were race bikes. I thought, I'm Kevin Swansea, I'm flying. So then that got shut off, and got myself a Ducati 996 race bike. This is how quick I got from club racing to BSB.
996?
Yeah. It was an absolute donkey of a thing. The rear shock didn't have any rebounder on, but it didn't matter then because you weren't fast enough to make it, for suspension changes to make any difference. If it stopped, great. If it went, great. That was it. And the first club meeting I did was at Cadwell, and I think they turned the lights off at the clubhouse by the time I finished. They were that far back. Absolutely dog shit. But you would be. But when I got this SP1, because I've passed all the, I didn't realise they were just lads that did track days on track day bikes.
You thought they were legit racers.
Yeah, here we go. I'm on this. So yeah, the first race, and then I spoke to a few people and learned a massive amount in a few weeks before the next round, and somehow finished third in the New Era Thunder Championship that year. That was 04. And Michael Pensavali, that owns a bike shop now, I think he used to be part of Wee Banny Bike or something, but so his dad helped me, and kind of, it was called HBR Racing. How is budget racing? Because we had nothing, like proper skin. We had, as a family, we didn't have any money at all. So I did that, and then in 2005, Pensavali, he'd bought one of Troy Bayliss's old 996, a proper thing. So he went to do BSB. We're like, oh, come and do BSB with me. So I went and did Super Stock Cup, as it was at the time. There was 2,000cc championships then in 2005, like the beginners and the experts. So I did the season in that. I nearly finished on the podium at Alton Park, but I fell off, which is a bit of a... it's a cliche. What did we do? Fall off? Oh, you know, yeah. How did you go on? How did you fall off? Yeah, I've got more air miles from being airlifted to hospital than I have from fucking flying anywhere on holiday. So I did that season, a couple of fair results, and did all right. And then in 2006, someone come up to me in December at the bike show and said, do you want to ride our superbike next year? I was like, aye. They went, have you got 20 grand? And I went, aye. Have a pot to piss in, nor a window to throw it out of. Like, literally, I'm thinking, right, well, if I sell this to X10, I've got... Still nowhere near, but we managed and we sorted it as a family. So from a club race 2 years prior,
what?
I was racing against Shaky Byrne. I did a one season at the British Superbike level before I jumped on the Superbike. and not because I was... I mean, I obviously always qualified, and in my first year, I won a Superbike Cup race at Cadwell Park. I had a couple of podiums at Croft, and in the wet I was very good, but I had no time to learn. I was just in at the deep end and fucking go for it. Dom's looking in amazement. That's my racing career from that, and then obviously to present day doing bits. And I heard Alan Carter on your previous podcast say how quick he got to GPs. Now he went to GP, so fair play to him, but they did an awful lot of riding at that time because they were racing in so many different classes. You had lots of practice, but we didn't. Track days were few and far between once we start racing because you just can't afford to do it, can you? So, yeah.
Wow. I'm trying. So can we go back a little bit, like a lot further? You know, before you broke your leg and everything like that. So, like, where did it all, like? Was it bikes, rugby, or was it rugby then bikes? I meant, like, you know, the love.
Oh, the love was always bikes. Absolutely, right. Always bikes. I mean, now to this day, my one, well, I've got my son now and the missus, but my passion is bikes. I always class myself as the luckiest bike racing fan in the world because I got to go and do it and sit on the other side of the fence and give it a whirl. You know, I've owned superbike teams. I've done this and that, some with success, some without success. So I just class myself as the luckiest lad to ever be, really, because I got to live the dream, and I've forfeited so much up until now. I'm 44 years old. You know, I'm well past the bar, but I give up all my youth and my childhood and the chance of a house, missus, kids, because all I gave about at that time was to go and race bikes and become something. And it's weird how people now are like, oh, you're back at grid sometimes, you're a failure in BSB, and I'm like, hey, fuck, am I a failure? 2 years, mate. 2 years to get there. And I stayed there, and I held my own. And, you know, I've got some good results there. I've gone around Snetterton in the wet within a second of Johnny Ray, and I've led a timesheet against Keane Ari, Peter Hickman, Simon Andrews at the time, all them. So some people's goal, like I think Chrissy is the potential to be a regular top 10 finisher if he carries on and maybe get the podiums. I think Chrissy's goals are slightly higher than mine. Mine was to get to BSB, and I did it, so I'm happy. So all the criticism and all the bullshit in the world, they can do one. I'm not bothered because I did it.
Incredible. Chrissy, can you ask a question here? Because I'm just simply have no idea where to go on this one. That is absolutely amazing.
Back then, the Superbike Cup was introduced. It was before the Evo Championship, wasn't it?
Yeah. I did. 2010 was the year of the Evo Cup coming in, which they took away the traction control and such things. But the bikes we had back then, in 2006, it didn't have traction control, but it could have had if it wanted.
Right. So what defined the cup?
Pretty much kind of budget almost, and the newness to the series. So it was a chance for the lads with the smaller budgets at the time to get some TV exposure and stand on a podium to keep the sponsors happy. Because at that time, Paul Bird's Superbike, for instance, was a proper thing with full world Superbike spec engines at that time with titanium rods and fancy pistons and everything, and you couldn't really afford to do that. And we got, in the end of 2006, we went to Honda and we bought some Hondas and then we run our own team in pretty much the same way you were, just me singularly. Through a lot of sponsorship from Tenor for Men, the piss pad people, we'll get to them. Actually, Dom, I love that. And so I went, so this is when my life of crashing kind of started. But it wasn't my fault. So beginning of 07,
Can we just title that? Clip that. Grace, clip that. Like, I did a lot of crashing, but none of them were my fault.
Are they ever our fault? Really? Are they ever our fault? But yeah, so the beginning of 07, we went to Almeria. We bought the JGL Hondas, it was, and pretty much all of his team. And we nicked it. We gave him 40 grand for 2 bikes, and these are full, like Honda Britain spec super bikes. Not HRC that were around at the time, but the ones like Carl Harris was on BLD Hondas and such. And all the tools and all the rack and spare wheels, and we absolutely nicked it off him for nothing. Went to Almeria. Steve Plater had been on the bike the year before. And I went round Almeria faster than Steve. I thought, again, I've got this. Goes to the first round, we had to buy some new forks for one of the bikes, because one of the bikes come with a set of forks. We bought some All-Ins FGR 700s, and practice and qualifying went terrible. And Sunday morning warm-up, we went out and we're going down towards Hawthorns at Brands Hatch, and Shaky's at one side of me. So, Shaky Byrne. I'm riding with Shaky Byrne, and Steve Plater was at the other. And I'd just given both like the finger and set off, because it was like the outlap of warm-up, like I'm ever going to be faster than Shaky. And I got to Hawthorn, as I tipped in, my front wheel went, oh God, and disappeared off to the left. And then all hell kicked loose, kicked off. Woke up with my right leg by my left ear. I thought, oh shit, oh that looks bad. So I've kind of shoved it away, and at this point I'm convinced, well, that's my leg gone, it's ripped off, it's just my leathers are holding it on, like, and they took me to hospital. I had 4 or 5 days in hospital. I'd snapped my femur, distal spiral fracture. That was pleasant. I think a week later we're back in the gym with that one, but then we put Tristan Palmer on the bike, and it was only supposed to be for a couple of rounds till I got fit, and the dickhead started winning like the Superbike Cup races, and I'm waiting 2 or 3 rounds, and we're like, well, what do we do here? Do we say thank you very much, Tristan, for your time, and put me back on it and see if we can get an odd result towards the end of the year, or do we go for it and win the Superbike Cup? And sure enough, in our first year as a Superbike team, we won the Superbike Cup Championship. Tristan was flying. And then we moved on to 2008. We got the Tenor for Men sponsorship, etc. But
okay, now you brought that up again, right? Whose idea was that?
Tenor for Men.
Was it just you're just watching the telly in the bar and just went, I tell you what, there's a lot of blokes out there, like the blokes like motorcycles, and occasionally something goes wrong. So
it came via
it's the perfect market.
It came through someone via the family. They were working in a call centre that were taking Tenor for Men's calls. Like, I'm not really sure what you're supposed. I've pissed me, son. Can you help me? Well, yes, we have a selection of pads, Mr. Dingle. Yes, what do we? We'll send you a packet out right now. There you go. Well, there's slow strength, high strength, and no strength. Yes, just piss away. So
Did you just make that up, or was that actually?
No.
That's not the range.
No, that was just the range. I know what the range is now because I've not tested them all. I've been through them all. We'll get to a testing story after. But yeah, so and just out of nowhere, the marketing manager came to walk round the call centre, and this person kind of got hold of him and said, "How do you fancy doing this?" And he went, "It's not a bad idea, that, you know." And they weren't really bothered so much for the advertising. They wanted to then raise awareness. So they come in at a small amount in 07 and give us a few quid as a personal sponsor, really. And then in 08 they decided, right, we want to do this properly, so we want the bike colours. So me and Tristan turned up because we kept Tristan for the year after, and I'm fit again now. For the first test at Snetterton, everything's been kept under wraps. So you come out for the photo that you've been there, haven't you? And me and Tristan we were right at the bottom of pit lane. We had to walk all the way up. We've got these blue leathers on that made us look like a shit Spider-Man because of the lattice crap they put on, and this massive Tenor for Men badge. And even now we're going, fucking hell, we all are right Plantpots here. Proper Plantpots. But then you're thinking, they give us the budget. You know, we bought two of Birdie's ex-Superbikes, his Hondas. And Tristan, he got a 5th place at one race and finished 10th in the championship. So within 2 years, we'd done really well then. And the marketing guy that sorted us out he left the job at the end of the year. And that's when Tenor for Men pulled the plug, because the new marketing manager, because it wasn't his baby, went, "I'm going racing yachts." Like, cheers, mate.
I'm dying to ask this. How much brass did they actually give you?
In total, and back then, bearing in mind, you know, this is before
to buy two Birdie Superbikes.
Oh, they were 100 grand.
What, for the pair of them?
For the pair of them, yeah, 50 grand a piece. Bearing in, we got 2 bikes previous from the year before, so I raced the old bikes and Tristan got the Birdie bikes. I think in total, it doesn't really matter saying it now. I think the total was about 350 grand they put in, and back then you could run it. You know what I mean? These, you know how expensive it is now. It was tough. I mean, we were still bordering because a lot of the budget they give us had to be spent on certain things. It wasn't like, there's your budget, now there's all the clothes that you're going to do, and there's your hospitality budget. It was like, you have to do it all for that. And we had an hospitality unit that had to fit 70 people in every meeting and yada yada. But it was fun.
In your opinion, can you still build a good team with that budget? A race-winning team?
It'd be difficult. I wouldn't, if you do super stock, maybe.
No. I'm just curious.
If I could... Now then, in 2012, when I run the Kawasaki's that end up going pear-shaped, we got 2 bikes off Nick. And we put Ewy Mainwaring on it. And Ewy Mainwaring was a very average rider at that time. And he started flying. So we had the right kit and the right people. It was a very, very small team, but it was very close-knit with the right people and the right people to speak to. So, yeah, for a one-man team, I think you could. But you've just got to keep that consistency there and have the right people. And
it's always them questions of the money flowing around.
In terms of like racing yourself, as in like that being your main thing for the year, when was the last like full sort of championship that you competed in?
The last full season?
Yeah.
Excuse me, would have been 2011, I think. I did super stock. I started this season on a Ducati and then moved on to a Honda for CN Racing.
CN Racing, I remember that, yeah.
Great team, great people, lovely people.
Danny Buchan rode for them either that year or the year before.
He rode from that year, but didn't finish the season.
Rounds,
so then I was personal friends with Christopher and Julia, so they asked me to ride for them. And
then they brought, was it Taylor Knapp in, the American guy?
Yeah, he was in the year before when they were on the Kawasaki's. He had some good results for them. Yeah, good little team. Good little team.
They had a fantastic, probably the best looking truck in the paddock.
Well, for the season after, that was the truck I was using. I rented that truck to run the Kawasaki Superbike outfit, and it had the big Scanias that look like the American trucks, you know. Come here, you fighter. So you turned up with a presence and then you had to back it up. Oh, God.
Nothing phases you, does it?
Pure can't. No, because this is why the business partner over there, he's coming to help me with what we're doing. because I'm just like a bullet a gate or a bullet in a china shop. I'm like, I get an idea and right, we're doing it at all costs and worry about the shit after.
We'll get on.
So
So
that poor lad deals with the shit. I think we should interview you next.
We've been business partners 6 months and look how grey he's already. He's only 23. He's only 23. That poor
You look
figure.
great, son. You look great.
We'll get on to your career like after you finished sort of racing full time, but just of the time you were racing, what was the best result that you had?
The best result,
or the best race, which race are you most proud of?
So the excuse me, there's two that stand out. One was at club racing at what's it called, Pembury, racing a guy called Lee Revley, and I'd gone down there, never seen the track on my own. Lee Revley, yeah, he's a nice guy.
No, it's just these names are awesome, aren't they?
Yeah.
Wearing main spot.
And he had an Aprilia, and to be fair, he'd been racing for quite a number of years, but he was having grudges against the Pensavat. There was a couple of riders there, Phil Bevan, and they were on proper ex-factory World Superbike Ducatis in the Sound of Thunder Championship. They had a massive advantage, so they'd kind of clear off, unless it was raining, when we'd be able to smash them. Literally. And that was, we had a right ding dong because the New Era Super Cup was on somewhere else, so the bigger names had gone up there, the championship leaders to do that, and me and him just had a massive ding dong, and one of them at the end of the race. So a bit similar to you and Brian McCormack when he dragged you around the TT one year, and there's a video of you going, "I fucking love you, Brian, man." I love that, and that was kind of that thing.
Now hold on, let me clear something up. He never dragged me round. He passed us, and then I caught him back up later on. He didn't drag me round.
Well, that's what. Yeah,
I hit a nerve there. Let me just clear that up.
I just thought that's what he'd done because of the way he was like, "Brian, I love you."
Oh, no.
I was like, "Go on, lad." But it just emphasised how bike racing is. When it's good, it's that good, and it's just that emotional aspect. Oh yeah, I adore it. And then I think the first podium I got in the Superbike Cup, which was at Croft, in 2006. And it was the race, you remember, where Leon Haslam come from nowhere and beat Carl Harris on the last corner of the last lap. It was pouring down with rain. So
Carl Harris must have had about 5 or 6 seconds, and then Leon started reeling him in like about a second a lap or even more.
Yeah,
it was like, will he catch him? And then on the last lap he caught him.
Yeah, the very last corner, that left-hander.
Awesome race.
And obviously me and Carl and Leon and Carl were best friends, and we had some cracking out there after. But I was last on the grid. You go down the start-finish straight, you go into that turn one, there's that longish right-hander, isn't there? By the time we got into the chicane there, I was 8th, because it was pouring down with rain, and I just love the wet. I'm one of them, I just excel in it. And Steve Plate was filling in for someone on one of the Rizzler Suzukis. So I'd managed to finish this first lap, like, well inside the top 10. And we got to that chicane bit again, and Steve Plate just proper side swipe. We kind of like, what the are you doing there, son? Off your pub and get back down the back where you belong. and I come home, and I think it was like a 15th or 16th in the main race, and come second in the Superbike Cup race. But Malcolm Ashley, the team owner at the time, they were all slowing me down because I had Chris Martin and John Kirkham in front of me, and they were nothing to do with my race. I was in the cup, and I'm thinking, I've got these. He just saw my eyes. I was going down the start-finish straight. He's like, oh shit,
he's having it.
Stop him, just slow down. So I backed off. So they're the two standouts.
I'm trying to think. In the Superbike Cup back then, was Philip Backlund in it back then?
He was in the Superbike Evo.
I'm getting mixed up with my year, I think.
Yeah, Martin Nutt was in it.
Martin
Nutt could pedal a bike. He was a good super sport rider. I beat him at Cadwell when I won the race. Yeah, the first race at that weekend was wet and it dried out, and I went to go underneath. And we main wearing at the top of the gooseneck, and we were on wets and it was completely dry. I thought, I've got this. Lit it up. Boom, out at sea. But because it's so steep going down Mansfield, as I'm going up, the crown's dropping away, and I'm thinking, oh, you dickhead. And I landed on the floor, and I'd ended up having 3 stitches in my elbow and crawling off to the side of the track, and all people are clapping me. I'm like, don't clap me, I'm a knob. I've just thrown away 3rd place there because I'm a knob. Do you know what I mean? 3 stitches in and then back out and got and won the second race. But I wouldn't say it was a standout race, that, because it was a bit of a gift because there weren't so many lads in the Superbike Cup race at that time. So yeah, the most poignant one would be the second place at Croft.
Class.
I must ask then. Like, obviously, you've got to when we stepped in this room, and we were talking about obviously the birth of your child, and it was obviously a very close connection with Carl Harris. So how did that friendship grow then? How did you meet him?
How did we meet? I literally just kind of started going to BSB in 04, because I'd started racing. So on the weekends off, we'd go and watch BSB. And it was just one of them things that there was a bit of banter, because the people I was going down with knew a few people in the paddock, and then it was, do you want a night out? Thinking, right, I do. I'm going out with Carl Harris. And I remember watching video like proper VHS videos of Carl racing. So I had something to talk about when I went out and pissed with him, because we didn't really know each other. I drove down to Sheffield and we had a night out, and the rest is history. There was just a big connection. I've got his logo tattooed on the back of my leg, and we're as thick as thieves. Can you remember when he got, what did he do? Who took him out? Many people. Tommy Hill at Alton Park caught his front brake lever, and he went into the director cell fencing when they had the last round at Alton Park, and he was laid on the floor like a turtle, knocked out. I had to carry him round all that night. He broke his ankle in 2005, the end of 2005 on the BLD bike at Brands Hatch at the last round, and they'd built him a full HRC spec bike to help Keel try with the championship against Greg Levere. And he broke his ankle. Like, should we go to hospital? And it's last round, you Plantpot with the parties, and they were good parties back then. So we got that pissed. We parked on the side of Honda's Hospitality on the scooter, and we've come out, and I'm like, well, where's the scooter? And he's going, I don't know. I'm going, well, happy if I know. So these coppers walking past, like, hey mate, someone's nicked the scooter, and he just kind of looked as like, do one of your Plantpots. And then after about half an hour looking, I remembered where we'd left it. So then we're going past these coppers on the scooter after, like, we found it absolutely mortal. You won't get away with it now. Even though in the paddock you'd have got bollocks,
100%.
You won't get away with that sort of life now. But we had some crack, me and him, that boy. Yeah, good, really good times. But I miss him dearly. His lad just got into racing a bit now, and young Carl, yeah, he's doing all right. In a bit too much crashing, but he's learning, isn't he? So
he goes racing with Statty, doesn't he?
Yeah, I met him at Capital Park actually. Just a few weeks ago now. And just a shout out to our young friend Statty, Hayden Stat, Sugar Cube. He won the British 85 small wheel championship. Was it last weekend?
Was last weekend at Hawks. I was about to say Hawks Vegas, but that's a place in the Lake District. Now there's a good night out if you ever fancy that.
Where's that?
It's in the Lake District. It's a little village with 4 pubs in it, but the doors don't shut. It's fantastic.
That's a bit of me, that.
It does, doesn't it? Here's a question then. Obviously, you decided to go straight down the short circuit dream of being a BSB racer. You tick that off the box. And, with Carl going to the TT where he sadly lost his life, did you ever, with Carl doing it, did you fancy having a go yourself? Or
I hate being one of them people that never got the balls to do it and say, I'd have loved to have done it, but I genuinely would have done. Milky came over in 2008 when we had the Tenerife Men team to Alton and talked to us in some depth about it, and we were like, well, if this team's running next year, then it's a possibility. And I just never got the right opportunity with the right team at the right time. If I was going there, I'd want everything to be right, and as you well know, if everything ain't right, you ain't going around that track. So I would love to have done, but I don't want to be one of them pussies that didn't do it. I'd have loved to, but I genuinely would have done. I did contemplate thinking, after Carl passed away, to go and do it in 15, just to finish the Superstop race in his honour. And I would have finished dead last and wouldn't have cared. I'd have wobbled round, I'd have walked round. But things didn't pan out, so no. And then I got too old, because you can't do it after 40 now as a newcomer, can you?
That's what I say. When that was introduced, 2 years ago, 3 years, I can't mind.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, brought in.
So,
now, do you agree with that or not?
I think, for me personally, it was like a bit of a gift, because it was, well, I can't now, so stop dreaming about it, stop thinking about it, because you've not raced for a while now. You smashed the bits. Just if your dream's gone, if it's been taken away, you can't lull on it, can you? So yeah, I think I do. I've got it. I think there should be a minimum age limit, and I think there should be, if you've not done it by the time you're 40, then why are you trying to bother? Go and do the Manx and what go around the 600.
Yeah, I personally totally agree with that. We talked about that on the pod ages ago, Chrissy. I can't remember what was your thing on the same path?
The max age thing.
Yeah, the max age.
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest, but I've I guess I can see the logic in the 4-year-old thing. So
because it's supposed to take 3 years to learn, isn't it? So then you're 43, and then you're gonna have a crack.
I don't think it's like that. Like you say, I think it. Like you say, you can't put an age on these things. But I feel like if you're gonna go there, you can't just wait to leave it as a bucket list. Situation, you know what I mean? If you want to do it, you should be in your prime, like you say, rather than just.
And I think it's become that professional now. And I know a lot of people don't like the way the TT is going, but I think they found a really good balance, where if you want to go on your bike in your old black leathers and stuff and sit in a corner and drink beer and chat bubbles, happy days. But it needs the other side of it to come in for its own survival. And if someone wants to pay £1,000 to sit in hospitality, what does it matter to the guy that's there in his black leathers that's been coming for 50 years smoking his pipe? They can both work. Yeah. And as long as they don't take away the accessibility from the TT, where like riders are walking in the paddock and you can be grabbed, a bit like BSB. If they keep that integral part of what the TT is, I don't see the problem with it being a little bit more up to date. When they brought in the TV thing, I was actually personally against it. Because I loved the old way of the radios and it going around the circuit and you'd sit there watching the timing screen. There was just something about it. If he wasn't there, that's how you'd listen, because that's all you'd ever listen to, watch the TT. But then after day 2 or 3, when Dave O'Johnson had stopped being a dick and got his act together.
That was a wing.
Dave out. I know, I love him. But they ended up doing a really good job, I think.
I think Davo did that. We've said that loads on the pods. I think he did an outstanding job at that. I think personally, I think he should give me his OMG ride. Park it up, son, and just go into full-time commentary. I think that's a hint. That's a proper hint, that one. But,
and obviously, last weekend, it was the last round of the normal championship before we go down into the showdown. And so obviously the showdown used to be top 6. It's now top 8, extended a few years ago. Of the people that didn't make the cut, who were you most surprised to see not in the showdown?
It's a bit hard to say, because I think that
there's some big names not in the showdown this year.
You're obviously going to think of the likes of Josh, aren't you? Instantly. It's the first time that Birdie's team's not made it, so...
Jesus,
there's Josh Brooks, Tom Sykes.
Did Tom Sykes get knocked off again? Or did he fall off or get knocked off?
Did he get knocked off? Did he fall off?
He had a fall off and get a knock up. I can't.
But they've struggled ever so much with those bikes, and for whatever reason, it's no point us going into the reasons. But
I tell you what, Bridewell on the other side of that, on the other Ducati, he's like it's all over social media. I'm going for the triple at Alton Park. What have they changed?
Well, they've got the new swing arm, haven't they?
What, in the Ducati?
In their Ducati, yeah.
All right.
It is interesting how the Ducatis went from a few years ago. You'd have both the PBM bikes and the Oxford product bike. They were almost classed as the best 3 bikes on the grid.
They were almost trying to get them banned. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At one point, the season that Scott Redden won, nearly every race that year was won by a Ducati. It was like a massive percentage.
Yeah.
Because obviously Scott and Josh were both winning on it. Where these days, the last time I think Christian got 1 or 2 wins on it, and if Josh hasn't been on the podium for a long time now, they seem to have massively lost something. But to be fair, PBM bikes have taken a big notch down, but even Tommy Bridewell hasn't been as competitive this year as what he has been in the past.
Yeah,
they're always chasing each other, aren't they?
And it is weird how the most dominant display in the dry that I've ever seen in BSB was at Alton Park when Tommy Bridewell just cleared off.
Oh, when he knocked off last year.
Yeah, it looked like he was in a different league to everyone else, and it's mad to think that. I mean, we've been to Alton a few times since then and prior to then, and I don't know if it was the way he woke up that morning or if it's a setting on the bike or whatever, but it just goes to show that when they do get that bike right, it is a world beater.
He must have lost sleep over that. How he could not replicate, I'm not having a go at him, but it's like that one moment of out of body experience riding, and it should have been replicated. But my God, if that happened to me, I would love that to happen to me, by the way, just putting that out there. But for that to go...
The other big riders, the other big names not to make the showdown this year, obviously Hickman for the first time ever, I think, since the showdown was invented, and it's not one BMW in the top 8. Buchan, as well. Andy Owen, Leon
Oh,
Haslam.
they had a shit weekend. God love them.
Yeah.
There's some big names. I mean, going into the season, obviously it's on record because it's a podcast and it's recorded. I fancied Leon Haslam for the championship this year, and for him to not make the showdown it just goes to show. I class myself as maybe not an expert in BSB, but I would like to think I know my eggs.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how detached, well, maybe not how much I don't know, but just how unpredictable it is, I guess, is a better way of saying it. Because obviously we know Leon is capable of winning the championship, but for whatever reason they just haven't managed to get the best out of the bike.
And I haven't had much time to speak to Leon about the issues with the bike, because don't forget that team not so long since finished second in the championship. Obviously not the same bike because the bike's slightly newer now, so Lee Hardy knows how to run a team that can finish up there. And Leon obviously knows how to win races, so something's just not gelled. And when I was watching from trackside at Snetterton, he looked like he was really struggling with whatever the problem is, which looked to me like he couldn't get it stopped for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then he was losing his rag and gassing it and nearly high-siding, and you could just see he was very unhappy. So whether Leon stays there next year or not, it's obviously to be decided yet, whether he moves on. But if he does, I think he'll spend a lot of winter. If they can get to where they should be, that is one team that definitely can, with the right approach, and maybe change a few things.
And it is kind of coming up in silly season where everyone's chatting, talking, the rumour mills are starting. What gossip, juicy gossip. We've chosen this particular spot on the podcast quite wisely with the end of the season coming up, because we thought you'll have an inside scoop on some juicy gossip. So
I think you've called me in 1 week too early, because Alton Park's going to be the one where people start talking. But there's talk of our Supersport champion Jack Kennedy doing a bit of something, maybe even this season, on an R1.
Yeah, 'cause he's already won the championship, hasn't he?
You told me he'd been testing somewhere, and have you remembered?
I can't remember who was telling me, but he was testing in the UK on a Yam.
Yeah, so maybe
Now,
he's going to
either he was playing on one or testing for a team, I don't know, but it was like he was flying around in R1. But it makes sense, because I've never ridden on R1 myself. Have you ridden an R1?
No.
Have you ridden an R1?
Yes,
Not
I'd
the new
crashed it.
shape one.
Yeah, I've rode. Yeah,
Crashed it. You don't have to say that, you know.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that was a pillion. They call me the pillionator, don't they? Because it's just of that accident. But no, I've rode one of the new ones, and they are a good bike.
How long have you done pillions at BSB, by the way?
Probably since about 2011. And I've only had one crash, and it wasn't my fault.
And you always do it, like, is it every round?
Yeah, if I'm there and if I'm asked, yeah, I'm kind of the one that.
I hope you get loads of asks after this pod. I really do.
I'll talk you through it. It was John Reynolds' fault. It weren't my fault. I'm telling you. I thought I was in for a right bollocking of Stuart Higgs, but we'll go back to that.
Did Dave-O not want to roof it when he had his girlfriend on the back?
Yeah, showing off. So that was then.
He had no back brake. Roofed it.
No, that was Howie Main wearing smart. I think he roofed one and snapped the frame in half.
Never.
Dave-O was I'm sure it was Knockhill.
Yeah.
With his missus on the back. So that after that, it was like, well, you're not.
Is that the one he married?
No.
No.
All Davo.
Is
No, Dominic. No, not the one he married.
Would your missus go on the back of you?
Absolutely not. My missus is far too intelligent and classy to be going on the back of me.
I've got to say you. How can I say this politely?
I'm batting.
Doing very well for yourself.
She's a grandin, isn't she? Yeah, I don't know. I do not know what she's doing. Have you seen mine?
No, I'd love to, though.
She's a grandin.
Jesus, web.
She's a grandin. Take your hands out your pockets, Dominic. Right. Anyway.
Nah. No way. I'm going to sleep well tonight.
Her mother's going to listen to this. I'm doing my best to try and swear as little as possible, because I have got a potty mouth. I'm not so bad in interviews, but I'm trying to behave. Honestly, Catherine, I am. There you go. So right. So the people that are not in Hickey, that's very surprising. But as you know, there's something just not clicked with the BMWs. And I don't know if that's the new tyre this year, the SCX, that's making it a bit difficult for you guys.
Same tyres last year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. But then there were struggles began last year, didn't they? I suppose for the BMW guys. There's something. Do you know what's missing? Can you?
From the BMW, it's interesting how dominant or how exceptional the BMW is in super stock, and how it's such a great package out of the crate. Yet in BSB and in World Superbikes, it's had the top teams, it's had the top riders. And it seems to have, everyone's thrown the kitchen sink at it, and for whatever reason they just cannot make a consistent good superbike. And we've seen flashes of brilliance, like when Peter Hickman broke the lap record at Cadwell Park, did the double last year. Danny Buchan did the same this year. now and again it just comes out as like and it looks like they've made big progress. Same as Scott, World Superbike sometimes looks like he's made a thing. It was the same when Tom Sykes was on the bike. He'd quite often put it on pole position, and it looks like they've always like been close, but for whatever reason, it's just kind of. I think one of the main reasons I think possibly could go back to in World Superbikes. I'm pretty sure all of the main manufacturers run electronics that are not on their. They're not developing their own electronics for Superstock. So, for example, the Kawasaki, does it run the Morelli?
Yeah. I think BMW have gone down their own route, haven't they?
Where BMW stick with Bosch, which is potentially why their Superstock electronics are absolutely amazing, because they're developing them all the time in World Superbikes and then transferring that down into the road bike, where the likes of the KRT team are working on electronics packages that bear no resemblance to the bike that's on the road, and so therefore that could possibly, but. Is it I mean, that wouldn't make any difference in BSB anyway. So
Scott seems to have found something with the Calyx swinging arm, which everyone's barking on about. I know, but it has to be said because his results have got better with it.
Massively.
Did you see his bike at Donington? Did you go to World Superbikes at Donington?
I didn't.
I managed to get in the pits down there. Sean Muir's garage. I was nursing the chubby for a while after going in there, and I'll tell you, the bracing that they've put on that frame and stuff. Have you seen where they've braced them so the BMW frame goes like that, doesn't it? They've got a massive bracing there, and then they're bracing inside and stuff like that. It was as close to a MotoGP bike as you would see, which I'm sure a lot of the World Super. I haven't been into the Kawasaki garage, so I can't say about them, but I was just like, this is unbelievable. Yeah, so it's what I'm. You're saying that BMW are throwing the kitchen sink at it. They absolutely are, because there's leaving no stone unturned. The things they've got on that bike within the rules. Power-wise,
I'm talking BSB and World Superbike. Power-wise, it seems to be, it's bang on. It's obviously suspension-wise, it's anyone's choice. Everything seems sort of in place, but for whatever reason, they don't seem to be able to cut it at the top level.
Let's pick a track. Let's talk Snetterton. It's the most recent one. What was Brad Ray doing? He was the fastest Yamaha lap times.
46s, I think. Something
something like
Sixes.
that.
So
and Hickey wasn't a million miles off at Snet, was he? Which then that just knackered my. I thought, right, because of Cadwell, the temperature was slightly down, and Danny Buchan did real well, and Hickey did well there. And then we got to Snet, and then Hickey still did well, and the temperature was up. So I was thinking, right, well, maybe the BMW is going to excel in slightly colder conditions. Because you had a good run at the beginning of the year, didn't you? When track temperature slightly down. So I thought, maybe this is like a temperature issue where the way the tyres are running. But then Hickey goes and get a second place at Snetterton, and he balls that theory right up.
Now that you brought that up, let's talk about that the safety car situation. My giddy aunt, that was
I tell you what, I'll see if I can get it up on my phone.
Yeah,
bloody saucy.
What's both your takes on it?
I tell you what, before we go down that route, I think I'm going to overcomplicate this, but what's mad is what makes a race winning bike is it the easiness to ride it. And what I mean by that is, when you look at the lap times, was it a 36 the lap speed there? Sorry, Snetterton. Was it 136? 46.
Okay,
a 46. And if Hickman's doing 46s, 47, he's in the 46s. So for the average punter looking at that on a screen, and they're all within a tenth, within the top 10, it's the engineering of it. What makes that bike consistently do 36s to a one lap wonder? That is going to be a question probably no one can ever answer. But
I think the 4 Yamahas, I'm not saying they are by any stretch, but certainly look the easiest bike to ride. But out of them all, Hickey looks like he's working. You look like you're working. The Hondas, they're absolutely grafting their nuts off on them things.
Well, Glenn, for example, the first round, Glenn went out and did the triple, and at Silverstone, and everyone would look and think, "Wow!" Either Glenn's the best rider, and then that hasn't been repeated at all around the season. Like I say, Danny world beater at Cadwell. Then you've got I personally believe that every manufacturer out there is good enough to win.
Yeah.
However, the Yamaha is the best package out. As it within the rules, I think it's maybe I think it's just the best. And a good case to look at that is if you look at where Bradley Ray and Kyle Ride were with the same team they had, was it 2 years on the BMW?
Yeah,
and they were
and
like sort of
struggled,
about 8th to 12th, and then they've both got on the Yamahas, and in the first season Bradley Ray's leading the championship and very dominant, and Kyle's also in the showdown, and what is he, about 4th in the championship or 5th?
Yeah.
So it's the however, I do think if you got say like if Elon Musk and like 3 of his top people set up a British Superbike team, I think you could give them any manufacturer to start with, and the cleverest people in the world could win on any of them bikes.
Well, yeah, I mean, go on, Dominic.
No, I mean, like, they are, like, when you look at the history of the 3 riders now, I don't know what Jason O'Halloran was like on a super sport, but Kyle Ryde, Brad Ray, and Mackenzie, outstanding super sport riders. Are they reinventing the wheel? And what I mean by that is, the whole pointing it down the middle, stopping it, picking it up and driving. Are they trying to change the style, and are the Ducatis trying to follow suit? Are they trying to ride those big bikes, like follow the leader element? This is just a mad theory based on no evidence whatsoever. But are they trying to ride Ducatis no longer like big bikes, but more like super sports, and it's just not working?
They could be. I mean, take Top Rack out of the equation. Your Yamaha riders normally excel if they've been a super sport rider, because that's the way that the Yamaha superbikes run. You brake a bit early, you run a load of corner speed through and get on the gas. So, but then you go to the V4 things where an inline 4 tends to not really want to turn in, but once it's in, it holds a line really well, and that's where you get your corner speed. And a V4 tips in really early and then just doesn't want to hold the line. So I can't imagine Ducati trying to reinvent the wheel that way. I mean, to be fair, in MotoGP they seem to have found something, but there's a lot more scope to change things within the rules in that. So, yeah. But yeah, I think next year you're going to see a resurgence from Birdie. I'm pretty sure both riders are going, because I've heard Sykes is going back to Worlds. I think Josh has just lost his ride. I know he's been talking to a couple of people, because Birdie ain't going out on a whimper. After he did the podcast with you guys and said, nothing lasts forever, blah, blah, everyone's going, he's going to be out this year. Paul Bird's ego will not let him pull out end of this year.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's great.
Which is great, isn't it?
So he needs to, get some development work on the bikes, get some brass spent, and get right back up there.
Who would you like to see on the Ducati?
For next year?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I think would go very well. yeah.
If you want on the pod again, say it. Say it out loud.
No, go on to it.
Do you like Danny Kent? No, I think Danny Kent would be a fair shout. I think that Birdie should have a real talk with him because of where he's come from in he's a Moto3 world champion. Can Danny seems to be doing a very good job, I think, personally, at Bill Base. I don't think results have gone his way, and he's had a bit of bad luck, but I think Danny's got something still to offer. Just
playing devil's advocate on that one, you've got Christian Iden and Danny on both on the same bike, and out of the, what have I had so far? Maybe 20 odd races. Christian's beaten him in every race so far. Why would you put? Is
he on the same package? Is he getting the same sort of support? Are Bill Base putting all their eggs into Christian, which they should rightly be doing? This is me just speculating. I don't know any of this, but I would say that if I'd have just hired Christian Iden from Paul Bird's team, who've been winning races at the Ducati, I would be focusing on Christian right now, and then bringing Danny through. But if Danny doesn't stay there next year, where does he go? Because I think he's earned the right to stay in Superbikes. I believe that, and I think there's a lot more to come from Danny.
Yeah,
it just needs someone to unlock it, and I think that because of the way Birdie's teams run, so it's so professional and so MotoGP-esque, I think that they'd be the people that would take Danny. I think there's no bad teams in Superbike. There's no bad riders. But sometimes you just get the wrong mix.
So if you were Paul Bird, you'd put Danny Kent and...
You'd be worth a shout, wouldn't you? Like seriously, that trying to block, not because I'm here, but...
So if you were...
But will Leon Aslan be going there?
I was going to say, if you were Paul Bird and you let's say you went down that, do you seriously... To me, like you said, he wants to go out on a win, start winning again. You've got to be looking at the best riders in the championship to have a go at that. And I would. Yeah.
Leon can ride a V4 because he's not going to be Aprilia. So,
for example, I would say myself and Danny would be not a safe bet. It would be at best it would be giving them a chance and let's see how they're going to do. At Paul's stage in his career, he's won at least one rider that you can put good money on. They will definitely be on the podium. Yeah. When Shaky Byrne used to ride for him, you could bet your bottom dollar that he's going to be front row of the grid probably pole position, and he's going to get you at least one win on the weekend, maybe 2 and possibly 3. There's not many riders in the championship, but for me, so to answer my own question, I think I'd be looking at Bradley Ray, and I think Skinner's probably going to be going to Moto2, but if not, maybe look at Skinner.
I tell you what, I hope Skinner gets that right. I really do. Now let's talk in theory, right? He moves up. That's a rider FS3. So the thing about, for me, looking at the superbike class for next year is who would you look to promote? I think Charlie Nesbitt deserves a shot in superbikes.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's found something, hasn't he? After struggling for some of the season, he's found something and finally clicked with a big bike, because he's been a regular smaller class rider, hasn't he?
Who else?
Who else would you promote?
For me, there's the thing about. I was actually speaking to Christian about this the other day. You've kind of got your benchmark in super sport and in super stock, and you know roughly where, when Jack Kennedy goes up to superbike, you sort of know roughly where he's going to fit in. And in super stock, you've got, like, say, Alex Olsen and Billy McConnell, and you kind of know where they're going to fit in. So you're kind of waiting for someone to come up and either start beating Jack or start beating Billy and consistently. To think, right, let's give them a go on the super. And is there anybody that's coming up is consistently? I mean, nobody's got anywhere near Jack Kennedy.
Well,
No. I think so. Next year in super sport, for instance, I think Bradley Peary is going to be the kid to beat. I think he's going to be well in there. And then jumping straight back to the superbike question, and Christian Hidden, what are Build Base going to do next year? Are they going to be on Suzuki's now? Suzuki have completely stopped doing any kind of racing type stuff. So do they spend one more year and use the backup that they've got? Yeah, well, they've pulled out of MotoGP, World Endurance.
Right.
So unless Suzuki UK, I'm not sure what the format is and how they get their budget or bikes or whatever, but if they decide, right, our racing programme has stopped, what's the point in Build Base staying with them? Do they get a new manufacturer in, or
they went from BMW to Suzuki, didn't they?
Yeah,
so
Kawasaki.
If you were Build Base, which manufacturer would you want to go to?
Be the Yam.
Well, I think you'd want the Yam, but I just think the Hickins would be like, right, well, there's a potential of 5 of them on the grid next year. So what support are we going to get, if any? Are there going to be bikes available? So then would he look at the BMWs again? I don't know. It's really, really hard.
Can I just say, if you're considering going to BMW, you've got Cinetic, which are extremely well funded and 2 fantastic riders, and you've got FHO, 2 very good riders and very well funded.
Very, very well.
And not one of them, and none of them have been in the top 8. So why would you go there?
How many Kawasaki's are in there?
Yeah, but that's what. But who are they going to choose? That's the thing.
A lot of people are looking at Honda. But then again,
Honda are pulling up the curbs.
You've got
that'll come. That'll come.
You reckon?
That will come. I thought it would have come a little bit sooner, but you've got to remember that bike was developed by HRC. They've got to. I'm telling you, trust me.
Oh, but you see, Honda.
So you said you'd go Honda?
I'd absolutely go Honda personally, because it's what I've run and had my best results on. So I might be a little bit biased, but no, I think that the Honda's got a lot of potential, but they've just got to work out how to use all this power.
Yeah,
that bike generates, and you can keep dialing it out and out and out, and then you lose that advantage. So, they need to find something with that for that straight line speed they've got, how to get it through a turn.
If for the roads, if you like a massive sponsor came to you and said, Dom, I want to see you do really well next year in the senior TT and the super stock and super bike race, you can have any manufacturer, and I'll pay anybody to build it for you. Which manufacturer would you go? For the Isle of Man
with
TT.
me head overruling me heart.
Yeah,
me heart would say Ducati just because I want to do it, but me head at the moment, because we're like sheep in this game, it's going to be the Fireblade Cup for the roads.
You'd go Honda as well.
No, because the stock class it is turned into Olsen's the only one in the BMWs like flying those colours.
Yeah.
They're using Honda sandwiches all the time, and even he's deflated on the grid, going, "Oh, I'm in the Honda Cup here. I'm in the Honda Cup."
Which are the top riders in Superstock are on BMWs this year?
Billy McConnell.
He's on a Honda.
In stock?
Yeah.
Billy McConnell?
Yeah.
He's on a Honda.
That's what I've just said. He's on a Honda.
He is on a Honda. Oh, sorry, not on a Honda. Sorry.
He's on a BMW.
I'm glad you picked up. Sorry. I'm glad there's 2 of us here.
I'm saying, other than Alex, which other top riders are there on a BMW this year?
In stocks? No, it's doing that circle thing, isn't it? I remember being stood under
I
on
think
the wall at
Superstock
Knock
bike's
Hill.
as good as anything, to be fair. Super.
No, the bikes are mint. Don't get me wrong, but like you say, it's like, but Jesus, the only person that was taking it out of that proportion in stock 1000 was a bike that you probably wouldn't go buy a stock 1000 for anyway. It was Tim Neve on the Yam.
Yeah,
But,
doing very well.
but
Yeah,
in the same breath, people weren't going, I'll go buy a Yamaha now in stock. They weren't. The team was like, and Tim can pedal a bike, my God, and he's still in the top 5 all the time with a smashed pelvis. But but you wouldn't go. But like, there's Jamie Coward. He's been bought 2 Fireblades. Craig Neve, he's gone a second quick around Cadwell. He's come off a very confident Manx Grand Prix and he's feeling good. But as far as the stock class is concerned, and we're talking about electronics, is the electronic package good for that? And it just everyone seems to be the Fireblade Cup.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't long ago that it was the Kawasaki Cup.
And then it turned into the BMW Cup, and then it turned into
so everyone
that.
gets, it's a cycle, isn't it?
I call it the iPhone class because it upgrades quicker than fucking iPhones, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It is so, isn't it? You know what I mean? I've just bought the iPhone 12. The iPhone 13's out now. Oh, what the fuck?
Going back to the Snetterton incident. So if anyone that didn't see in race 3, Storm Stacey blew up, I think, on the straight. Safety car came out.
And did well hold on to that because it locks it.
Safety car came.
But this...
Well, I'm
going to talk over this as well, but...
Mackenzie then restarted after the safety car, and unbeknownst to them, there was a penalty coming. He, Ray, and Owen also...
So let's go to it. First take.
First take was how Duncan in comms read it on the screen. He thought that the first 2 riders, Brad and Taz, had been given 2 long lap penalties because it was rider 1, 28, 2 long lap penalties. He didn't realise Glenn had got it. So he was saying all the way through that Glenn had won the race then. But Glenn had obviously got the thing. My first take on it is I absolutely agree with Glenn. I know the rule is rule. I agree with the ruling that's what it is. But as Glenn said, if someone goes, you can't hold back.
Nah.
Because what happens if that man behind you is going? So, knowing Stuart Higgs and the BSB, the management, I think that rule will be slightly changed now. What they will do, I don't know. Whether they're going to... Go on, sorry, Chris.
I'm just going to say, for people that haven't seen it and don't understand what happened, so basically the safety car is out. The rule is you can't overtake the safety car, obviously, and you've got to stay in order until the next time you go. So once the safety car turns its lights off, pulls into the pits, when everyone goes past the start-finish straight, that's race under normal conditions again. What happened is, as the safety car was coming into the pits, the first 3 riders actually overtook it before. So, like, it had pulled off to the side, but before it was fully off the track, the top 3 overtook it. So them 3 all got the equivalent of long lap penalties. And what that meant was that the first and second actually sort of made up the time, so they stayed first and second. However, Glenn Owen, who finished 3rd on track and thought he got a podium, didn't actually get it far enough away from Peter Hickman. Hickman then, so the only actual change in position was the 3rd place. So Glenn was sort of stitched about it, and
well, Hickey got 2nd and Taz got 3rd. So that
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was Brad, Hickey, Taz. Yeah, because I see. I love Hickey, but he come into pits after I was in FHO's thing. He got a face like a robber's dog, and he bless him, but he can still get the birds. And he wasn't sure how he got 2nd place.
Face like a what?
Robber's dog. He might be fast. That's why I didn't know if he was still doing that scales thing. I thought I don't want him beating me at that as well.
I've got that around the corner.
No, don't bother, because if I lose at that, I'll be really pissed off. One of the first times I ever rode his NX10 around Cadwell Park, he come steaming past me when I'd only just had it 5 minutes, and got on the tail for him for about 3 laps, and then splattered it, trying to keep up with him. But I knew then that he was going places and where he's gone. But Hickey actually got a 2nd place.
Right. Do you have an opinion on what happened? I've got quite a strong opinion on that. That's all.
All right, you're building up, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? It is difficult. The thing is that the car definitely moved out of the way. Arguably, it was off the racing line. It was a clean line of sight when the car stepped out off. Now, I can understand totally understand Mackenzie's going. You've come through that turn. That corner is so shallow. Even regardless to that, he saw it. He didn't judge it quite right. Opened it up, but if he rolled the throttle, there,
to be fair,
there would have been someone dead.
Taz is the one that's controlling the race until they cross the start-finish line. So so that's why the other 2 had to go, because when Taz went, they've got to go with him.
Was Taz in the wrong then?
Well, he just mistimed it and misjudged it. That's all. But
Yeah.
Taz could have rolled up to the start-finish line at 2 mile an hour, and everyone could have stayed behind him.
Has anyone ever done that?
Leon Camille did it one time.
Connor Bean did it in success.
Yeah, like properly slowly, and then bang.
I'll see if I can find that YouTube actually, because it's quite.
So, I mean, yeah, it was an error of judgment. No harm was done. Thank God. I think the rules will be slightly modified. On the way down, I was actually thinking about it. I thought, well, what do you do? Do you say that the riders behind, to make sure that this doesn't happen, actually cause an accident in the future? Do you say, right, the lead rider controls the race, but he must stay 150 metres behind the car, roughly? You're never going to be able to get it exact, but
Should it have only been Taz that got penalised in that theory? Because Glenn, we were talking about like Glenn had to ride.
I think so, yes, but the rules don't dictate that at the moment. So the rules were followed, and like Stuart, it says it's a matter of fact. So there's
which is understandable.
You know, you might sit there and go, it was harsh for the other two, which it definitely was. But the rules written at that time are a matter of fact. So there's no getting away from that.
So my take on it is the rules are where the problem at BSB followed the rules by the letter of the law, but the rules absolutely need changing. Someone could have got killed at the weekend if they'd followed the rule. If Glenn had followed the rule, somebody probably would have got killed.
Yeah.
It's the wrong decision for P2 and P3 in that case. The lead rider is the person at fault. They should have had a penalty, and everyone behind them. It's absolutely not right. In terms of like the mistake of the lead rider, people think it might be really easy to stay behind the safety car. It's a slight it's a slight mistake. However, in like, say, my lifetime, I've been racing BSB for years. I've been under safety car. I've led under a safety car like maybe once or twice. It's not something you get much practice with. So it's by judging. It's not often that you're on a superbike but behind a car and judging speed differences. Now, in hindsight, Taz should have just given them a bit more room, and they would never have a problem. But I think the BSB got it. By following the rules, I think they got it wrong, and I feel really sorry for Glenn.
Well, they kind of didn't get it wrong, did they? They issued a penalty after the race, so it wasn't like. The problem is now because people know, that's why the rule has to be amended, because it could now potentially cause an accident.
BSB,
do you know what I mean?
You learn from mistakes.
You learn from mistakes. So BSB have never had that situation before. No one got injured because everybody just thought, well, we go for it, simple as. But now that's been put in people's mind. Have I got to hold back? Has he just done that? And then fourth place doesn't see that they're not gone bang. So I think it will be amended. And I think they're always quick to do things like that.
In all fairness,
I wonder what I mean?
I wonder if the safety car driver went home that night and went, maybe I shouldn't have put the brakes on. Did he slow down too much? I'm not blaming the safety car man. He is the safety car man. But
did he have a good bet on who was coming on fourth to win the race? Yeah, get some of this, you Plantpot.
he's on Bet Live.
Yeah.
We can make this work. Right, get the 20 quid in there. Sorry, Chris, you're being serious there.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, I was going to say I think BSB are good at that type of thing. However, everything is left for the judge people to make.
Yeah,
and in my opinion, they should have used the judgment there. And
but they can't. That's the problem, because it's like the timekeeper's word is law. It's a matter of fact. So it happened. It's been seen. They can't. It's not one of them judgments where they can go, well, actually, we can act on the side of discretion here. It's just a matter of fact that it did happen. So they have to incur the penalty. It's like Guy Martin at getting the time penalty at Watson and barking on at TT by the smallest of margin, but it's a matter of fact. So the rule can't be given discretion, unfortunately.
I totally agree with that, solely because especially in motorcycle racing in general, give an inch, give a mile.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you can go for the tolerance, what is every team going to go for?
I don't even think...
you know what I mean? You think, well, if that happens, we've got that little bit of saving grace, let's use it. If we can do that little bit more through pit lane, let's do it. If we can do that, we can do this, move the paint, the green paint, let's move it out a bit more. Everyone's going to go to that edge.
In terms of going...
Which I was going to say, do you want
I'll try to be quiet.
Black or a white one, but we've only got black ones today, so I'm afraid. So that's what you have.
Oh, fat.
In terms of the championship in general this year, obviously we're going into the last 3 rounds. Who's your money on for the championship?
Hang on. I actually got given a crate of this through one of your rivals, the one and only Mr. Neil, he brought me a full crate of white ones. He's a bit more respectful.
Mr. Who, sorry?
Mr. Neil.
He's not a rival. He's a colleague.
He's a colleague.
He rescued that well, didn't he?
He's a good friend of ours. Yeah.
He was a lot more hospitable than you two miserable bastards and give me a full crate of it, to keep me talking. And talk we did. But it's a white one. And I did it in 2 days. 2 days.
That's not
Absolutely. No, it wasn't. It wasn't coming down for the few days after. But yeah, I was saying, we did that podcast and we went across to the pub after. And he's a brainy sod, isn't he? A brain box. And we he won the quiz and I won 8 pints and he didn't drink.
Again, Jen will be chuffed.
Oh, Jen is, she is there. She's not hard to look at. Amazon goddess height. You know what I mean? He is punching well above his weight. There, I'm going to say that one more time. My God, Jen, you're beautiful.
So back to the championship. I think it's been a very good one. Mm-hmm. It's been very open. We touched on the rules and stuff before, and again, that's where they've got it right, because any manufacturer on the right day can win, even still. Them that are struggling, them that are not. It's just them to you to develop your bikes, and they made it very fair when we tried the Superbike Evo, which was the precursor to how the rules are set now.
Yeah.
And it just meant that the guys with the massive budgets that could afford all the data men and all the logging and everything, some of that was taken away, and it did make it fair. And you're always going to have a budget kind of dictating where teams should be. But I think it's much fairer, and you can get that odd result here and there that, fucking hell, he's doing well, And so I think they've got it very right. And
who's your money on for the championship?
I think it's got to be Brad, hasn't it? He seems to be very strong at the minute. He's really clicked with that bike.
Mentally strong as well. He just doesn't seem fazed by it all.
Yeah. Happy rider, fast rider, all that thing. I think.
Is your money on Brad as well?
Yeah. I want Jason O'Halloran to win it. Solely because I want him to get that monkey off his back.
Yeah, I wouldn't. What rounds have we got left? Alton,
Donington, and Brands.
To be honest, I can see Taz dominating at Donington and Brands. I won't be surprised at all if Taz does win the championship again, which after the start of the season that he had would be.
Well, he's not. Hang on a minute. Taz is not a massive fan of Alton Park, is he?
That's what I'm saying. So
after that, then he's but. Bradley can pedal round Donington, can't he? I think.
Pedal a bit of gambling. Should we put a bit of a slide bet on it?
Go on, I'll stick 50 pence on Taz.
Put it over to a quid.
Go on, I'll raise you.
A quid.
So,
I know you're like northern, but I'm proper Yorkshire northern.
No,
and as I told Dominic, I'm tighter than Cramper. Quid's a lot of brass kids.
This is
BSB we're talking about here.
Go on, we'll have a quid. I'll say Brad. I've got to say Brad.
Did you not already have Brad? Who are you?
Jason.
I'm going to put Jason for the heart.
So Taz, Brad, Jason.
Yeah.
You heard it here.
It's kind of like, do you know the film Trading Places? I've seen it.
Oh yeah. And they do the bet for $1, don't they?
Yeah. There we are. Straight on it. So
now, in terms of, from one end of the scale, who's sort of impressed and who you're fancying for the championship? We've still got 3 rounds to go, so anything can happen. But from the beginning of the season to now, who have you been? I don't know if disappointed's the right word, but who have you been surprised at who hasn't performed as well as what you expected?
Now then, and I rate him as well a lot. And this is what I'm saying about there are no bad teams and no real bad riders in BSB. It's just that sometimes the rider and the team are not in the right thing, not the right match. Sorry. So I really thought at the beginning of this year that the Tag Honda team were going to do really well with Mossy. I thought there was something there. Obviously, I think they struggled as much with the Honda as Luke ended up struggling with it to find a balance. So now he's gone to PR. If that relationship continues into next year, I think that'll be one to watch for next year. I think there's a real good atmosphere within that camp, and I think that's where them two should have been together at the beginning of this year, as when Dan Linfoot started the year with those guys. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to anybody. I just knew it wasn't going to work. Why? I can't really say. Not because I don't want to say. I just thought it doesn't fit to me. That it doesn't seem right. I don't know. And obviously they've parted ways mutually happy. I'm not saying that bike was crap or Dan didn't try. They all really tried. No, but I'm not. I'm not saying the reason why Dan left or Dan walked is this. It was just I never saw the team fitting for Dan.
Yeah.
And likewise, and I think Luke Mossy with PR is a really good fit. You know, just some, like I say, sometimes you can have the best rider in the world in a team that doesn't fit, and so you've got to move on.
I'm just getting an awkward laugh because, by saying what you're not insinuating, it's just like
I'm insinuating, but
I'm not insinuating he's a paedophile. Like nobody thought he was a paedophile. What do I say it?
No, but I say as it is. If I had the reason, I'd tell you straight up, absolutely straight up. I'd say they didn't match because of this A, B, and C, and I can't give you an answer. I just knew. And sometimes you just get a feeling about things.
Yeah,
so.
I know exactly what you mean.
I tell you what, I'm so glad he brought up Dan Linfoot, because obviously he left that team, started off a new venture in Stock 1000, and what a race that was, because Billy McConnell got knocked out by Lewis Rollo. He went in, like, either that was a mechanical failure or what, I do not know, but he went.
Third time this year, Billy's been taken out, and he's just lost the championship lead
by
of the
5
championship.
points, isn't he?
But I got 3 times being wiped out, not your fault, is very, very unlucky. And because he's worked so hard for a Superstock championship. Every year he's like the the person you can bet he's going to be there or thereabouts.
Well, you ruined it last time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yes. One time. And then obviously Tom beat him last year, and he's like the sort of Nelly man, and he's definitely.
It took him a long while to win the Supersport Championship, but Billy won't give in till he's won it, and he's still got that.
He's got the
cracking lad, and
But the fact that he got mowed out, and then he landed on the back of Tom Ward's bike. Tom Ward took him off down the field. Who else did he knock out?
I'm not sure, but the Charlie Nesbitt got. Well,
no, but that was. Have you seen the pictures of that crash? Someone got some.
Alex Olsen lifted some dirt onto the track, and then he folded the front and wiped Dan Linfoot out. Very, very lucky nobody was seriously injured there.
Yeah.
But he missed the air barrier. Like, I mean, that crash is once in a million. But the mad thing is, people realise that if it was dirt, he would have been all right. And what I mean by that is, it's so sandy down there. That was sand. That whole field is just sand. It's so loamy around in Norfolk area, literally just scattering marbles on the floor. If it was physical dirt, it would have been a lot heavier, and you would probably hit bumps rather than just essentially glass. Because obviously glass is made from sand. Just putting that out there. I am educated. But the fact that he missed the gap, and Jesus wept, Davy Todd he must have just saw that in the peripheral, just hit enough brake. Nesbitt was in the air when he wrote. Could not have written. And then his bloody teammate high sides on the rest of the sand. Neatly Tom Ward goes high side. Nearly the unreal race. That was just absolutely phenomenal. And obviously, congratulations to Davy Todd for your first Stock 1000 win, and now he's leading the championship, which leads into. We were talking about PR, so glad you brought that up on the Dan Linfoot front. So I do apologise.
I was going to say, obviously you mentioned Luke Mossey as somebody you're surprised that hasn't done as well. Is there anybody else?
Now let me think. Well, just the bigger riders that have missed out on the top 8 on the showdown. Leon, I think everyone expected Leon to do well. We all Josh seemed to have found something at the end of last year, so we thought he was going to have a better start to this year, and Birdie kept him on Sykes. I'm not sure if I would say disappointed so much in Tom, because I knew he'd never rode a V4, and I thought it's a big ask to come back from Worlds after being there for so long.
Yeah.
To then jump on something with no traction control, be a V4, and then be told you've got to ride it this way and adapt, which is, it's a shame. I think Tom...
He's doing the same times as Josh Brooks, you know what I mean? There's no,
he's there and thereabouts.
It's mad, isn't it?
The problem is everything's moved on, and it just seems like that bike hasn't for now. But again, we'll see next year. So I think Sykes' exit, because I think he's going back to World, I think it's a bit premature. I think if Tom would have stuck with that, there could have been something special going on.
Where do you think Brooksy will end up?
On a Yamaha.
Do
you think he's going back to Cinetic? I think he's always going to tag. Do you not think? No, Taz. Sorry, no. Do you not think? It could. Listen, it could be tag. He didn't do bad on there, Yamaha, did he? Finished second in the championship.
But he brought Yamaha first British championship win on the Milwaukee Sean Muir about, wasn't it?
Yeah, on the
new shape.
On the newer shape, yeah.
On the new shape one. So I would personally, if I was a betting man, why wouldn't you not go sit his arse on a bloody R1?
Yeah, but whose seat is he going to replace? It's
good point.
Yeah, the tap. It's silly season. You gotta love it, haven't you? You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Like I say, we're a podcast too early for that. I think there'll be a lot more go and rem the paddock.
You're on next week, so I don't know why you're worried. You know what I mean?
Double episode. He's too much of a gobshite to do it all in one. Here we go.
Third horse. We're getting rid of Christian, and you're the third horse now. It's as simple as that. But, God, Bennett. So where? We're trying to think what else. Big news on that. On the Brad Ray's first triple. Jack Kennedy's mopped up on that championship. What else has happened?
He was tremendous.
He's just weighing.
Yeah, mega.
I think we might get, if you don't mind me touching on the way the whole weekend went on, the way that the teams, the marshals, the crowd, the fans, the riders, everything, and the way that it was all directed because of what had happened with the Queen, the conduct and everything that was shown there was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was done exactly right in my eyes, from the way that it was all presented, that they made it low key, and it was just done with such dignity that, because there was a lot of people at the start of it saying, that it should be cancelled for the weekend, but everyone had been there on the Thursday. It would have been absolutely wrong. The amount of money spent to get there for teams, people that were camping, the fans and stuff, and just the decorum and the way that everyone held themselves was amazing. I thought it was done brilliantly. Steve Day of Eurosport, Stuart Higgs when he was on TV, the way that Duncan and Larry on comms did it. I just thought it was great, and I touched on something I was speaking to Steve Day, excuse me, in the paddock, on pit lane, and I said, if there's one sport that knows how to deal with a loss and how to react and carry on after it, unfortunately, it's us guys, because we deal with it. We have to deal, or we've dealt with it in the past. So I just knew that it was going to be done in the right way, and come Sunday night when everyone was going on, I thought, that's a good. They've done it really well, and that's a nice thing. That's a nice thing for for the Queen's memory. That I was at BSB. We had all the silences. We did everything right. We clapped when we should. It was good.
Yeah, I agree. I've never known you being so serious, and I'm impressed.
Sorry.
No, it's, absolutely bang on, and it's been a strange time for everyone in the country. Really, it's something. For 70 years? 72 years or something.
Yeah,
the reign. It's the longest reigning monarch, and it's been a constant in like everyone's life. Just the Queen, and it's like so integral in like everything, our anthem, all of our coins, everything. And it's been great to see all of the people go on the streets. I was actually up in Edinburgh yesterday, so I just missed because the Edinburgh was really busy the day before. All the in fact, I won't say that. I had a joke, but I better not. I'll just skip that one.
I can promise you know it at the right
time. But yeah, it's been great, and then into London and to see all of the flowers outside and stuff. It's it's really beautiful and just amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we still got you. You're a big enough Queen for all of us.
And what we did miss, is a memorial to the Queen. Someone a favourite animal was horses, and they let two of them on the track, didn't they, at Snetterton?
Yeah, do you reckon someone let that happen?
Well, one of them had a saddle and one didn't, but just the Ducati Cup's going round, so you've got donkeys on track and then two horses come flying past, you know what I mean?
Before we move on from that subject, did you hear about what happened in Mid-Antrim?
Yeah, that got stopped, didn't it?
That got stopped. That literally got sabotaged, right? So it's a case of now, Northern Ireland, you know what I mean? Very religious country, very, very religious country. And that club have had nothing but bad luck, Mid-Antrim. And road racing is struggling as it is. And the sheer fact that the last time they were there, they were hit by the weather because it was ran in early April and it got plagues. The track got absolutely washed out. And because it's in a field, they had to get on the track, it got contaminated, and then it got cancelled from there. And they've struggled so much to get it back up on its feet. Now, God rest her soul, but Liz didn't exactly plan the day on where she was going to depart. You know what I mean? And like everything, it's incredibly sad, it really is. But the Mid-Antrim lot have gone round the local village, the whole of Mid-Antrim, and they discussed it. They discussed all the theories, very religious people. And it was going ahead. They gave everyone the respect. They did everything right. They had the silences. Absolutely brilliant. They did the Friday of practice. It was the last round of the championship for the Ulster Championship, as well as the Super Sport. Hey, by the way, I've got to apologise. I got it wrong. I wasn't leading the Ulster Championship. They counted the second race at Armoy into the points. Adam McLean beat me by 1 point. The dickhead. So anyway, I do apologise. I wasn't leading it, so I couldn't attend the meeting anyway. But they did the Friday practice. Everyone was on the pace. It was going well, but some dickhead, I mean, like, no, dickhead's not even a strong enough word for this, right? Went out and poured glass and diesel on the track, right, to stop the race. So they woke up with the news that the whole track's been contaminated. Now, let me get this very clear. This is obviously very dangerous to the riders, but more importantly, these are public roads. Someone's gone out and poured oil and diesel. What happens if someone was coming home from a night shift?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know, you know what I mean? Someone was going down on their push bike and someone hit a car and mowed someone. That is absolutely outright attempted murder. Someone
but
knows
the chances of catching the bastard.
No, but
you know,
the worst thing, some like obviously, you know, very respectful of the Queen, you know, like to the monarch and everything like that. But someone out there is bragging about it. That could have killed. Like, was, you know what I mean? That could have killed someone.
When I heard about that, I thought it was obviously to stop the race. Like someone had sabotaged the track to stop the race, but I hadn't connected the death of the Queen. Is that? Do you feel like that?
Oh God, no, God! Well, you know, it's the you know, Protestants and Catholics. You know, and we've got so you can imagine.
I just thought it was someone that didn't like road racing. I didn't.
No.
Yeah, I think it was more to do with the Queen and someone being fiercely loyal and British.
100%. The fact that royalist area, massively, and the fact of like they should have cancelled it, and like a lot of other events up and like all over the country were cancelling events. Now, like I say, the Mid-Antrim Club have worked their asses off to get to that point, and they discuss everything. They didn't just go, "Oh, we've done this, we're going to keep going." There is no way on God's green earth that they would have done that. Like,
no,
and because of the death of the Queen, and they've decided to run. Someone has got upset that they're not being respectful to the Queen and gone out and sabotaged the track. That is 100% what's happened, but they could have murdered someone.
Yeah, all the guidelines were followed, weren't they? They were issued on, was it late Thursday night or first thing Friday morning? Because I know Stuart wasn't 100% sure if you guys were going to be out, did he? And then he went, Friday practice will happen about 7:30 on Thursday night, and we will have to do it this way and stuff. So yeah, but it's not for one person to decide what a whole bunch of people does, as in sabotage. You know, it's just a total wank.
Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion. Yeah. Everyone's got their own right to. But when you start
messing with people's lives, then you know that's wrong. It's properly wrong.
So did they cancel the rest of the?
They had to. They literally poured glass and like diesel all over the track, and they went, "Well, we can't." Yeah. They weren't going to risk anyone's lives.
I mean,
but
it was
the
almost.
thing I can't get over is the fact that someone's gone. We're going to do. They did in the middle of the night. They woke up to the track contamination. Someone could have.
I think there were a lot of people, public, that weren't down at BSB, that were just coming down for maybe Saturday and Sunday, that hadn't set off, and then once they heard how the rest of the weekend was going to be conducted, that made their decision. And like, well, if they're going to pay such a tribute to the Queen, then we should be at racing, paying tribute to the Queen, doing the sport we love, and that's how it should have been, not some fucking Plantpot going, "Oh, get on this."
But that's the thing, isn't it? That is they've just taken matters in all. It's like you say, like Queen Elizabeth would be going, "Oh, I'm proud of you." So thank you very much.
It's going to be mad. You know, the next time there's a big event and we're singing the national anthem, "God Save the King," it'll be like, just because it's been such a.
Okay, I'm going to put something out there. If the government is listening, can we spice it up a little bit, right? I heard the Spaniards, you know Bautista, you know when he wins a race. Have you heard the Spanish national anthem? The Italians, they got it a bit spicy. You know what I mean? Ours is a little bit. God save now the King. You know what I mean? It's a bit. You know, we ruled 3/4 of the world at one point under some serious rain. We had some balls. Tyrants. We were tyrants. 100% we were tyrants. You know what I mean? We should have some you know, some fireworks mid-song and stuff like that. All I'm suggesting is let's change the anthem. Don't know. I can look. I'm not musical. I can barely say my own name without changing tune. So never mind writing a song. But if there's anyone out there, let's throw your suggestions in Chasin The Racin.
Tommy Bridewell's Super Pole lap song. I've got a brand new Combine Harvester. At least it's a laugh,
man. Did he do that?
Yeah, of course he did.
What a fella!
It's on his Super Pole lap. Aaron Combs doing it with Duncan. Oh, you got a brand new car. Oh, Jesus!
What a fella! What a fella!
Okay, quick change of direction.
Let's liven it up.
Jonathan Ray, Alvaro Bautista incident at the weekend being quite controversial. Thoughts on that?
Knocked him out.
Do you know what?
Well,
I have seen it. I have seen it. Sorry, I watched it when I got home. Controversial, was it?
It
was harsh, I think, but it's racing. But Alvaro Bautista's seen his ass properly, and he's like, I don't care about your apology, blah, 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 blah. And
So you say,
what he does, he just spices that championship up.
I've had harder kisses.
so are you saying if you were in the championship, if you were the race control, you wouldn't give no penalty? Or do you think long lap was the correct
I think
penalty?
long lap was enough. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Can we vote you in for
Voted on.
race control? That wasn't a jump start. He gave me 20 quid.
This is Jonathan Ray making a pass on Alvaro Bautista.
So he saw it nice and early there.
Yeah. I mean, once of a day, that would have been classed as a racing incident, no penalty, don't be a Plantpot again. But
He looked like a bit of a Plantpot. Here we go. So we're getting the slow-mo here.
So he's lining him up, pulls out on the brakes.
he's just so late, isn't it? And he's realised what he's done, and yeah, he knew hitting Bautista, he was going to sacrifice Bautista to save himself. So yeah, in this day and age, it's a long lap penalty.
There's no.
But
you think
I'm not being funny. There's no way. Like it wasn't. I honestly believe it wasn't intentional. That man has got too much to lose, and we've personally got. We met him once and got him on the interview, but there's no way he has got the mannerism in him to go. I'm going to hurt this lad. You know what I mean? He's got too much to lose.
I mean, I've raced with Johnny, and I know how good and safe Johnny Ray
drop.
is. He actually gave me moving on. He gave me a tour around Silverstone once because I was struggling like mad in 06. So if the team went, you're doing that shit, you aren't getting a new tyre till you do. I think it was a 124 or something like that. And Johnny Ray come past down pit lane and he went, "Come on, kid." And I went faster on my out lap than I'd done on a flying lap, just following Johnny. And then I come back in on my third lap and they give me a new tyre. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it, you knobhead. I'm like, well, I just followed him, Anna. Look, he's well fast. I'm just a dick. There you go.
Playing devil's advocate, if you were Bautista and you were leading the World Superbike Championship and that happened to you, would you?
Of course, you're going to feel hard.
You're going to feel like that.
Going to feel hard done by, aren't you? Of course, is, and he's going to want, but.
Well,
It's not like Bautista's never took anybody out. Okay, now he can bowl a ball, can't he? That kid.
Yeah.
Well, same argument though, isn't it? It's the exact same argument. It's like if someone else knocked him off, would he made a song and dance about it?
It's
You know what I mean? If someone,
it's always going to be one of them. If 6 or 1.5 does the other. Do I think it was intentional? No, but I also think that Johnny Ray knew that he was going to hit Bautista, and it was the likelihood was that he would come out all right and Bautista wouldn't. But he couldn't do. There's nothing more he could have done. What does he do? Because if he'd have just cabbed a load of front brake and tried to go to the inside, he would have took the front. He'd have still took him out. Either way, Bautista was getting sacrificed, and so.
Well, Bautista just has a straight line umph as well, so he has to do him in the mid corner at some point, nice and early, break him, get in a rhythm.
But World Superbikes this last couple of years has become something worth watching again.
100%.
It was terrible. I mean, one year when Fred was still doing comms, he invited me down for the weekend to do World Superbikes, and I did the Saturday. And I messaged him on Saturday tea to him. I said, "I'm not coming back tomorrow." He went, "Why?" Because that is dog shit. It's just the most boring. There wasn't enough going on. The qualifying was. I was just like, man, I am just not bothered.
You could just.
And now I jump at the chance to do it, because it's got real interesting again, and because of a certain Mr. Smart. I think Scott Smart that helped Stuart with the rules in BSB has gone over there and made the rules and made it more exciting that Johnny Ray can't run away with it, and the Ducatis, every bike's got its strength now. Like the same as BSB, so I think
it's called racing now.
Yeah, exactly.
Racing,
it's not a one-horse
you know what I mean?
race. Yeah, it's not a one-horse race.
Definitely.
100%.
Are you wanting to mention anything about this weekend?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what.
Wink, nudge, nudge. Bit of how's your father? Here we go.
It's a blonde.
It's
It looks like that. No, I'll tell you what. Before we go down that route, should we tidy up a couple of things in MotoGP? Marquez's return.
Marquez's return. Aragon.
He's not. He's not here this week. Oh, sorry.
It is this weekend. Tomorrow.
It is.
Starts tomorrow. Aragon tomorrow. He's had some results for him there in the past, hasn't he, Marquez? He says he's got no chance. He's got a 1%, and he thinks he may even stop because of his arm, but he just wants to get back there and do some time. But if that boy goes into qualifying and he's in the top 7 or 8, which he's more than capable of, even higher in qualifying, he will go out and start that race. Whether he's finishing or not, I don't know, but he's tied around there, isn't he? He's tied around Aragon. So I think it could be one of them weird returns where he'll either be in the top 3 or he won't finish.
Yeah.
He'll pull in you.
And Pecco's obviously on fire at the moment. The last four race races he's won, and he's definitely got the momentum, sort of catching Quartararo for the championship, and that's kind of doing it. Yes, he is.
Yeah. But he hates Aragon as well. He's going to struggle around there.
A bit of news with obviously Dovi retiring. It means Ali Espargaro is now the only rider that was in the championship in 2010. I think they're like Dovi and Espargaro. If you look at a picture of MotoGP, there's a picture of Dovi.
Crutchdog's back. When did Crutchlow go?
After that.
Was it after?
Yeah. The longest sort of standing rider now is Alish by quite a bit. But yeah, it's all sort of hotting up. News, I think just today, Remy Gardner, who's obviously been racing the the KTM and won the Moto2 championship last year. He's gone World Superbikes next year, signed for GRT, so like Gerloff's team, the second Yamaha.
Which again will have a knock-on effect for the British, because, you know, Bradley Ray may have been thinking he was off to, you know, could get a chance at Worlds, and Taz. And that's one of those seats gone where they could potentially been moved to. So
if you were running a World Superbike Yamaha team, would you choose Taz or Brad?
Bradley.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Purely because of what Bradley on the smaller bikes I'm pretty sure he's done a bit. I think, well, no, because Taz won the Supersport champion.
He pissed away with it
twice. So, it's an hard one. Is that? Okay, now you got me thinking there.
I think based on sheer,
I think you would take Brad through this year. I think he's shone so much. I always knew that this year was going to be hard for Taz, because he was nearly set to go to Worlds at the beginning of this year, and it all fell apart. Hard to then come back and think, right, well, I had my sights set on World, and now I'm going to stay in British. To keep your pecker up. And
I'll tell you what, speaking of that, now, you know, when you base this whole British Championship over 3 rounds now, 8 riders, 3 rounds, there you go. Now, if you're a world boss and thinking, let's sign a rider, you would probably sign Bradley Ray because of his consistency from start to this point. But then if Mackenzie, and I would love to see it as well, what happens if he just turns up now and does all 3?
Yeah,
does that show
there's two ways of looking at it then, as a boss. Ways, look who's handled the pressure the best, so what can they do in World?
But then you look at the whole run up to that form and then the change. But like you say, there's 2 sides of every coin on that side of things, isn't there?
Yeah.
My God, it would be.
I don't know. Just pure personally, I would take Brad, but yeah, you might be right that Taz might be the one that gets the seat to go this year. If there is a place, move Brad across into maybe the Thatcher and Cam's team for a season, and then move on the fair. But we'll see.
Absolutely.
I think Born Estimate. I think just chuck him in at Worlds.
Absolutely.
Born Estimate.
Born Estimate.
100%.
Hell yeah!
Absolutely.
I love Bjorn. Hell yeah! Fuck that.
Absolutely. Anything can happen. Obviously, at BSB and 2 back-to-back rounds as well. It means like someone can get taken out in one, practice session, get knocked out, and they miss 6 races. It's quite all to play for.
Yeah.
And also it'll be interesting to see. Last year, for example, Jason O'Halloran was so dominant through the year, and then when it came to the showdown, whether it was the pressure or whether it was just the circumstances, but his performances dropped off. Maybe this year, coming in as a bit of an underdog and just chipping away, it might give him the platform to go for the championship. Then you've got a few outsiders like sort of Lee Jackson, Rory Skinner, Tommy Bridewell. Tommy could go and do the triple at Alton, and all of a sudden he's right in the frame. It's all to play for.
Well, Tommy did say he's now decided that the season's won at the end of it and not the beginning. So he says he's been controlling himself all year to keep himself within a fighting chance. Instead of throwing it with in some interview I heard him say that he saw what happened. He saw what happened last year, and he's totally right. So now it's the time to go for it. You either go for it now, or Alton can define whether you're going to be in with a shout when you get to Brands. So just hit the power button. Don't hit the kill switch, Tommy. The power button. Did you know I did that? Yeah. So then they put a piece of rubber hose, didn't they, over the kill switch, and they put a tyre out around it. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What's your opinion on this BMW Cup?
For next year?
Yeah. There's rumours flying around the place that there's going to be 80 riders.
80 riders?
Yeah, 2 lots of grids. That's the rumour. So there's going to be like 2 lots of qualified. So there's going to be like an A race and a B race.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Oh no! Just what's your opinion on that?
This is controversial. I don't think Street Fighter should be in racing series. It's for race bikes. thinks it's road bikes that are turned into race bikes, not sit up and beg cup. That Harley Davidson Cup they did, it ended up being fun, but it just, for me personally, I don't want to entertain it. I want a race bike to look like a race bike, which is head down, arse up, fairings on. So but the problem is it'll make for really good racing. It'll be really good next year now, and there'll be 80 riders on. But for me, no, I think that whether the Ducati Cup's come to its natural end, maybe, and it could have been replaced by something, but then what do you replace it with? And where's the market at with bike sales now? It is more your tourists sit up and beg. So I get it, really get it, but it's not really for me.
Mm-hmm. What about
congratulations, David Shoebridge. He just won the Ducati, didn't he?
Did he? He's
did he win the championship?
Well, I hope he did, because I've just told everyone else. So congratulations, son.
I'm actually commentating on David. So David's going over to race the Baldo 24-hour this weekend. He's teaming up with Tom Oliver.
I noticed you got that gig. Yeah. I've been commentating for years. I've been asked if Eurosport to do.
He's a good-looking lad.
Well, he's an handsome bugger, isn't he? And he's got age on his side, mate. Yeah.
And
well spoken for a northern fella.
I'm looking forward to it, though. It's shaping up to be a cracking. There's loads of British riders.
Should we just fill him in?
Won't be long before I'm doing hospital radio from my hospital bed. I'm that fucking old now. Here's to Pearl with China in your hand. Come on, nurse, I pissed me.
Did I tell you I used to be sponsored by Telephone? Yeah. Baldo, are you looking forward to it then?
Really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's one thing that before I started commentating on it, I wasn't really interested in watching it that much. It's not a series that I've followed, but by obviously I've sort of had to, and I've really got into it.
They call it the encyclopedia now, don't they?
Who?
The Eurosport commentators. No, they do. I think they've made a few comments on it, saying like the encyclopedia. Chris, you work there, for God's sake. Come on, I've not
heard that one. But
I'd love to go to Suzuka as a guest. Not as a punter and not even a commentator, but to be able to get in and look at the stuff that's over there that Japan bring out. To
be honest, I would like a bash. I would like a bash at World Endurance myself. To be honest, I've spoke to a few lads that are doing it, and it's obviously a completely different challenge. But there's loads of British riders that are going out at the moment.
Are you selling it like I'm part of the commentating team? I will give you lots of shout outs instead of paying for the ride.
Leon's doing it. Yeah.
He's won the Zuka.
It's Westmoreland there.
Westy does it all the time.
Quite well. Yeah, he does quite well. Yeah. It's interesting. I like it. It's a very different format of racing.
I'm surprised I haven't been offered into it. I've won Teesside Moped Mayhem a few times now, and that's an endurance race.
I don't get an invite to No Limits endurance race. I'm that fucking old now. God almighty.
I'm hoping.
I've even put a post of anyone need a rider this weekend. Nope. Rough, dude.
I'm hoping.
I think they must have seen my other post of I'm that old now. I'm struggling to get at the fucking bath. So yeah, what you going to do in a race? But I went around Dalton Park yesterday on a track day. Then
you walked in here fine.
I couldn't watch me stand up. I just fall off floor, and there were some bits that were great. There were some bits that were horrible. And I put a post on my Facebook last night that I can't. I'm going to build something over winter and have a little race next year. It'll only be club stuff, but just to go and have a crack, because there were bits I loved and there were bits I hated, and some of it was embarrassing. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But bearing in mind, I haven't rode a bike in anger since 2016, since my big crash at Alton Park. And then you won't really know about this. So I snapped I'd already got a rod in from snapping my femur.
Is that in the rugby?
No. This is previous crash at racing. But they snapped the ball of my hip off of my femur, the top. And when they screwed it in, they actually put the thread into the ball, but they left nothing on the femur. So my leg, I thought, was healing away, and they put the screws in that were 22 mil too long because of the swelling. So then my femur just kept separating away from me. Yeah. And I just thought, well, it hurts a little bit, but it's not that bad. Not realising I was making a right mess of myself. I'll just get this picture up for Dom to look at. No, I won't, because I can't find it.
To mention as well, obviously we spoke about Tommy Bradwell. Tommy Bradwell's actually joining the commentary team this weekend for the Baldo. For the Baldo, yeah. So Jack Bernagle's back as well.
Fantastic. Jack the Knife. He's back.
Yeah. Mega looking forward to catching up with them.
Yeah, are you actually going to see them? Because you do.
Oh yeah, you're all together.
Oh, I meant. Say hi to Jack from us.
Yeah, I will do. Also, just a shout out mentioning the British riders in the World Endurance Championship, but Gino Rea obviously had that massive crash at Suzuka, and
just part. Go on, sorry.
Gino Rea had a massive crash and life-changing injuries. There's actually a GoFundMe page that's been set up to help with his rehab, but he's in a real serious condition, and basically it is possible that he can make a full recovery, but it's basically like the quality of his care is like really important. So just if anyone's interested, I'll post the link. And things. Sorry, mate. What were you?
I was just showing Dom the picture of why it kind of escalated from. So you can see that they've screwed the thread right into the ball, and the brake's there, and so once the swelling went down, the screws were just my leg was just sliding in there. And bearing in mind, I'd brought me back in 6 places of the butterflies, as you call them, on them. So I brought 6 of them off. I broke my shoulder and dislocated that, and I rode 9 weeks later at Snet. Came back. Well, I rode the week before. I did a test day there, like a right knobhead. And I'm telling them, they've lifted me onto the bike, and I'm going, I'm fine. I was far from fucking fine. I was rough. And then I tried to do Thruxton, and then it separated again. So that's why I've got a false hip now through that, because they got necrosis in the bone because there wasn't enough blood flow. So they tried to save it at Leeds Hospital. I had about 5 operations. Looks like a shark bite now. Make sure I look beautiful, cock, honestly, it's a right fucking mess. But they tried to save it and didn't, so I ended up with a false hip. It's just that, but yeah, but that's the racer's mentality. Like, you weren't 100%, and you'll do anything to ride, won't you? And you tell everyone you're fine, and you're not. You know you're not. But okay. We're not footballers, are we? We're not dancing around chasing a bag of wind.
I tell you what, I've got one more question before. Sorry, Guzzy. I've got one more question, and I think a lot of people
have to call it a day. We've been on forever.
It'll be hard. Stop being a shite bag. You're a professional. Get over yourself. But anyway, I must ask, because there'll be loads of people at the beginning of this interview probably thinking the same question I had. Why couldn't you have kept the professional paying rugby job? Right, like was it good money? Was it? Good money?
It was fair.
It was fair money,
and
right.
I can kind of answer your question before you've asked.
Well, let me finish. So it's a bit like it's a winter sport. You're making money. You're training. You're keeping fit. Yes, obviously high impact. Concussions, everything like that. But there'll be people out there going, why couldn't you make that work? And why didn't it?
It was rugby league, so it wasn't rugby union. The Southern Fannies game. So the Super League was played, and Southern shandy drinking masses. I love you all, Southerners, by the way. But in rugby terms, I'm talking about now. And rugby league was summer league. Super League was through the summer.
And there we are.
There's absolutely no way you could put your body through the torch with playing rugby, even in winter, and then racing bikes in summer. And rugby always was a means to an end. Racing was the love. So when I got a kind of a chance to do it, and then thought, I'm not bad at this, and did all right in Superstock, and then got asked. I mean, even when I got the Superbike ride, we went to Jerez for 10 days, and Stuart Higgs had phoned Malcolm and said, he can't go in Superbikes, he's done nothing. And Malcolm went, well, look, we want to give him a try, and Stuart set a time for me to achieve at Jerez, which I did. And then we come back to Britain, we did the first test at Snet, and he said, you've got to achieve this time or you won't be racing this season. But then a lap into it, Dean Thomas, the nicest man in the paddock, coming to the start-finish straight, took me out, and I broke my left leg. And I bet from the crash, I got because, like on a test day, they had slightly less marshals back then. And I stood up and thought, fucking hell, that hurts, that's not right. But I walked off and climbed over the barrier on the other side of the start-finish straight. So everyone thought I was all right. And I'm sat down waiting for ambulance to come, and nobody come for about half an hour, and I'm laying there with a broken leg. But because I'd walked off, they didn't know and couldn't see.
It is incredible because, we talk about on this show all the time about how, talent. Would you say you're a talented rider?
I think if I would have stayed, no. I worked very hard.
What age were you when you went and
23, 24 before I'd raced. I was fairly old, and literally I'd done nothing. I'm not kind of
no motocross, no racing.
Oh yeah, I'd had motocross bikes and stuff as a kid, and I passed my test when I was 18. I bought an RGV 250. Then rugby said you can't do that. So no, it was literally a track day. Then a year in at New Era.
That's incredible.
But I worked hard to be able to do it. And like I say, my goal was to get to British Superbikes, not to win it, because I knew there was never any chance. You know, people say, would you want to go to Worlds? I'll be honest, I was never going to do that. But I got to do what I wanted to do.
Oh, God, I'm not taking anything away. It just shows that you can.
Talent-wise, if I would have stayed in the Superstock classes instead of going straight to Superbike, I could have done something and been maybe top 10 within that and had fun. But I was just adamant that what I wanted to do.
Good man.
And then after that,
Good man.
I left the Tenor for Men team because the Pots wanted. So then I rode the MV Augusta, which was one of the nicest chassis I've ever rode. But the bike
what was the bike like? Oh, damn it.
Well down on power. And it liked to discharge its oil. It didn't want to keep it. It wanted to share the love. I remember coming in and James Hayden grabbing me on microphone and he says, what's happened, Dewi? They were at Cadwell and MV had blown up. And I said, looking at the amount of oil on my fucking boot, it's another electrical fault. 10p switch and just walked off.
Class.
Yeah, then I did the Evo Cup with Dave Tyson. Then Superstock, did my own thing, had a couple of years out. Then 16 rode for Tony Dexter in his team, and that's when I broke my leg and not really done anything since. I've done really no laps up until doing the track day yesterday. And
that record pace I heard. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think the only record broken was how quick I got to the bar after. To be fair.
Got a few Patreon questions, but just before I go for them, do you want to say about what you're up to this weekend?
Yeah, so I'm not competing at Oliver's Mount, but I'm doing my first ever British round of Supermoto. So,
I've heard you on about this on the podcast before.
So I've always wanted to do it. So thank you to Motion Focus, as I like to call him, Hocus Pocus. He did his mum in a Focus. So he set the whole deal up at Nora Sport, and it's I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Now, just obviously by the time this podcast goes out, it'll be after the weekend. But
good luck.
In spirit, anyway, I'd just like to pass on my all my best wishes to the team at Oliver's Mount. I hope they have a fantastic weekend, Andy, Wendy and all of the team there. I know how much effort they're putting in. Good luck to Dave on the commentary as well, and Dave Neal's doing the commentary.
Is he going up doing it? He did say he was talking about doing it. So
yeah, I really hope, and obviously good luck to all of the competitors there as well. It's a big shame that I can't make it with being in London, but I really hope it's a good weekend, and obviously best of luck in the Supermoto as well. Quick few questions on the patrons. So I've got Ty Kinton. Are you enjoying the pundit side of racing? What was the worst bike you raced? So with the pundit thing, you join Duncan and Larry on the commentary, BSB radio, don't you?
Yeah, giving the technical analysis, the technical side of things, telling people what I can see, what I know, which is, like you said, normally I'm an idiot in the paddock, which masks the fact that I'm actually quite shy and terrified of things. But you're big, bold and brash people, leave you alone, don't they? But yeah, the technical, I'd like to work on the technical side of bikes. I'm helping a couple of riders this season alongside their crew chiefs, offering advice, which is going quite well.
Good.
As I say, if you win a championship as a crew chief in your first year in Superbike Cup, you're doing something right, because that's what I took over with Tristan. So yeah, no, I really do like it. I never wanted to be the main presenter, because that's not my job and I'm not good at that. What I'm good at is interjecting with someone that comes along with a question, say, why is that bike doing that? And, some of it I wing. Well, a lot of it. No. I really enjoy it, and it's something I pursue further. I mean, I've done a TV show called Bike World where they sent me to Sardinia. Nearly killed myself riding off a cliff on a multistrada there, because they sent me to do a recce, and I just didn't see the sea was there, and I come to a stop and went, I put stand down and sat down for a minute. I had to sit down for a minute that day. I'm like, that were close. But yeah, it's something I'd like to pursue a lot more.
Yeah, spot on. Timu, hey up chaps, a couple of questions for Michael. How much further do you think, I'll read the whole thing and then we can maybe pick on, how much further do you realistically think you could have got with an opportunity in a bigger team? Also be interesting to hear if you had any offers of top rides. Also, what was the difference in training and fitness between rugby and racing a superbike? Hope you're all well, lads. Pick one of them.
Right, as far as team goes, no, because there's elements of the racing post Tenor for Men that didn't just go right, so it was never going to be an option, and I'd done what I wanted to do, so I was happy to kind of, if something came up and a last minute offer was there to ride. So no, the top team, it was never an ambition, because it was never going to happen. Training wise, rugby league was all about kind of like I am now, a much bigger type of fella, so I had to lose all that. I went from being 15 stone 10 to 82 kilos, which is about 13 stone, something like that. I couldn't go any lower than that. I tried and just had absolutely no strength left then. So cardiovascular, low weights, high reps for racing, and quite the opposite for rugby. That was a lot of sprints, and I could once do kind of 100 metres more than sub 12 seconds. I was quite quick on my feet, and now I can't walk.
When you say more, lower than 12 seconds, that's pretty fast, isn't it?
Yeah. I was full back for rugby league, so I was the first line of defence, last line of attack, whichever. So, but I was a top try scorer for many a year at club level. It's just a greedy bastard. What I learned at rugby league simply, because when I first started, I was very small, and I got battered by one big bloke, and that was me. Then I thought, well, if I step round you, I'm not getting hurt, so I just looked really flash. I mean, it was just because I was terrified of getting battered. It's not like...
Did you ever play rugby?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Scrum half.
Yeah.
Oh, gobby little bastard.
You're damn right.
Then runs an IBI's forward. And
You're damn right.
I can imagine you were good at rugby.
We're just chucking the egg. That's it.
Chucking the egg, mate.
But barely used to chuck it. I used to just run at the biggest lad and just see what happened. I've got the face for rugby. Chipped all my teeth.
Got Rodham. So a few questions. I'll choose this one. If you could choose to ride for a current or previous BSB team, which would it be? Thanks, guys.
Current.
Yeah.
Quite controversial, but just because he's been in the racing since I've been there, and so it's not a big team as such, but it would be. I always wanted to ride a bike for PR, for John at PR, just because we get on so well. I always wanted one shot, and he kind of looked at me and went, Michael, I like you, mate. It's not even Geordie, he's from Scousland, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
And like, basically, I like you, mate, but you're a bit shit, so no. And you can't stay on a fucking bike. So
the nice and a lovely team. We're often obviously next to them in garages, and Ray Stringer's working with Luke Mossy, I think. Well, Ray Stringer's been with me throughout my career, really, because he started when I was at New Year, he was helping Pensavar. So Ray's always been a bit of a fatherly figure. If Luke can get his shoulder fixed, I think he'll have a strong finish to the season. And
they did all right on the Kawasaki's with Ray. You know, the podiums and the wins with Ray was there, wasn't he? I think that's why I'm thinking the family thing's going to fit, and Luke's going back to something he knows.
Nice friendly team that they sort of help out. You know what it's like at BSB, you always need something or things and you're just next door. But they're a proper nice group of people. And
then previous teams, Revy Racing Red Bull, just because they looked the absolute nuts and the bikes were mega. Yeah, so that's my team.
I like it.
We've got anything to wrap things up your end?
No.
Can I just say thank you to Rob that I've come down with, who is now my business partner in the little venture we're doing, not on the size of Global Moto, but we're building and selling track bikes now.
Right.
Purely more the budget aspect side of things, you know, your £5,000 and £6,000, and we're hoping to
sell or to rent.
To sell, to purely to sell. You know, we're taking them in and making it the best bike it can be on a budget, because, you know, times are hard for people and people still want to go on track. So we're doing that, and Rob's got many ideas about doing other things with insurance and claims and things like that. So we want to be like a little hub, but only a little hub, not like you. That is what you've shown me today. That's mega. It's mega. But
what's the business called?
Motorcycle Stars.
Thank God you got that in, because all this lovely plugging you do, and everyone be like, "What was it called?"
And I'm on Facebook if anybody wants to add me. We don't have a page and website set up as yet because it's all quite new. We bought 5 or 6 bikes to kind of test the market, so we've been going a bit too far with them as such, like preparation, but it's going all right, and we're enjoying ourselves out with it, minute, Chief. So
he didn't actually answer that, you know that, don't you? He's in the back. He's in the background there. Going, what have I done? What have I done?
Yeah, what have I done with this dick? But I need a Carmen influence, and he's the Carmen influence on it all. Yeah.
Good luck to the pair of you. It'll go absolutely fantastic. Having absolutely all the power to you, lads. All the power to you. And
I have mentioned that in the last few episodes, but there's an opportunity over on Lee Johnson's YouTube channel. There's an opportunity to win a bike through Bennett's. They're giving away. So Lee's restored a bike, and it's free to enter. So if you head over to Lee's YouTube channel for that, you're away racing this weekend, and then weekend after we've got Oulton Park and Donington, so it's busy time of the year. Do you know, earlier on in the season there was quite a few months where I had one BSB almost per month or every 3 weeks, and you sort of get over the weekend and get things and, you know, get all the bills paid and whatever, and then you sort of regroup, where then it's back. It's coming. It's it's tight, and it's I can't believe in 3 rounds in 4 weeks, and then the season's over. It's just
it's mad, and it doesn't feel like it started 2 minutes ago. But good luck to you for all. Good luck to you and your super motor race. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to come on. I've been kind of giving Chrissy a nudge of it when you're getting me on, and I thought you're getting that far into people, it's going to be called Chasing the fucking Graham Racing before I get it. And I thought they've used everybody up, and I'm still not getting on there thinking he ain't now balls to him. So thanks a lot, guys.
No, we're definitely having you back on. I've really enjoyed it.
We've actually broken a rule because we do sort of have an unwritten rule that if anyone asks to come on the podcast, they're automatically blacklisted. So we've like swerved that one. And I know I did mention it earlier. I did mention it earlier, but I just want to re-say as well. It was such a massive well done to Hayden Stat and the whole Stat family. The really put everything that they have as a family into racing, and to see him, he won a British Auto Championship a few years ago, and to see him step up and work so hard and through injuries and whatever, and to take the British Championship on an 85 from like what they do, I just think it's brilliant. So massive well done to them.
I've got Dom a bag of pork scratchings because he was down south, and I thought he might want some.
What a fella!
There you go.
They'll be brilliant going up north. Back north, youngin. Back north. There you go. Back into the hills, son. Back into the hills. Tell you what, you're lucky I'm here, mate, to finish off the show.
Go on.
I think I'll bring it up on the next one.
No,
basically, I'll tell you what, right? So like today, I'm not going to grass up the company, but like basically like a big bandit chipper. We'll have to get Grace to put the clip on the end of this. Big bandit chipper that can essentially eat like a small car. You know what I mean? So the lads are hand feeding this with brash. Now I'm up this ash tree stripping it down, and all my rope got tangled in the branches, and that was unbeknown to me. So I'm up the top of this thing, and then the tree starts bowing over. And I'm getting ripped out the tree. Literally, it's pulling on the harness. Going, what the is that? Look down, and my rope's in the chipper, getting eaten up. And by God's grace, the rope snapped on me, and I just went like flying off the other side. And I'm like, all right, I've personally never seen this happen before. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh wait, shit happens. And the lads were like, oh, sorry. Came down, and all the lads, man, they was white as this table, and they were like, what's the matter with you? They went, have you not seen the video? What video? What are you on about? I actually put it on my Instagram not too long ago. But like I say, we'll get Grace to do it. But this video of this lad, they get this dummy, and they put the rope in the chipper, and he just tips over slowly, and he just goes, it's like something like made up. He just flies into this wood chip and just gets obliterated because he got a flywheel on it that's turning at a mega RPM, and he just got spun into this.
Like when they pull a car into a wall, basically, on the crash test dummy type stuff.
Honestly, on the video, it is.
He showed me earlier.
Oh God, no, it is mental.
That was me acting like I'd not seen it. You've just killed that, Chris. Killed it, man. That's been part on EastEnders now.
We had a full drama there, a full-on drama there. But no, I'll tell you what, mate. We'll put that on because it was just that's another near miss. There you go. I'm using these lives up quickly, but there we go. But yet again, it's been great having you on, and thank you so much for coming down. Not Yorkshire, from Cheshire.
And our last podcast we had yellow lenses. This blue lenses. What we're having next? What we're having next week?
Elton John flamingo glasses. That's the next one. So no, it's I've got obviously some. I'm meeting a different surgeon, and we're going to be discussing plans and everything like that. But the good thing is everything can get fixed. Everything will get fixed. It's now just timing. It's all about the timing of it. Yeah. So it's like, at first you're thinking, oh, shit, but they're like, oh, everything's just minor to them. Everything's really, really small scale to them. But it's like, to each individual, so when your leg's knocked and your shoulder's knocked, you're like, how are they going to fix this? And it's simple stuff. It's just getting it done. So
I haven't mentioned this to you yet, but when I was listening,
I'm not getting the sack, am I? No, when I start this together, but I'm getting sacked. How does this work?
When I was listening to the last podcast back with Alan Carter, there's a few things that sort of really like stuck with us, and one of them was, the analogy of the salmon swimming upstream, and obviously he was talking about the mental health clock and stuff like that. It just got us thinking. I got a feeling that we're in for like a real tough winter coming up for like a lot of people, a hell of a lot of people for various reasons. And I was just trying to think of like what, if anything, what we could do on the podcast to like help. So I'm gonna have a think of, and maybe if we'll have a chat off air about it and see if we're. But if there's anything that we can do, I think it would be good to use this platform to help, sort of thing.
Fair play.
So yeah, we'll have a think.
We're gonna have you on every week.
Oh, I'll soon bore you. Don't
No, you're not boring me. 100%. You're not 100%. But like, no, but Chris, that was a great idea, and I think we'll definitely have to get some sorted.
So. A safe journey back. Massive thank you to our sponsors, Colchester Kawasaki, and to all of our lovely patrons. We've actually had a few new patrons this week.
Thank
so
God,
big shout
because you know how much diesel is.
I know. Big shout out to them. And have you got anyone else other than your business?
Just a quick shout out to my next door neighbours, Mike and Carol. Which is weird, no, because
we're swingers.
When me and my girlfriend moved into where we moved in now, he's got a beautiful garage at the end of the road, and he saw the first bike arrive, and me and Rob were still looking for premises, as we still are now, to further the business. And he come running out with his key. I've not known this guy for 5 minutes. Straight out, there's the key, garage to the keys. Whatever you're doing, use it. It's yours. And now we've got 6-7 bikes. Literally wants nothing for it, just wants to see us succeed. So until we get his premises sorted, we've got a workshop, and it's a nice workshop as well. It's beautiful. But yeah, so thank you to them. Hello to my missus. All right, Mother your dragon. That's it. No, yeah, just let's get to the end of the BSB season. Hope the fans have a great time and everyone stays safe. Proper.
Definitely.
Well, a nice way to end.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, mate. Take care.
See you in a bit.
Chasin The Racin. Powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.